If we look at a subset of smokers who are otherwise unable or unwilling to quit, they're going to continue to smoke that pack of cigarettes. Half of them will die prematurely later in life from that decision. If we could get all of those people to completely switch all of their cigarettes for one of these non-combustible products, that would be good for public health.
Are we live? I think we're live. So happy and how in the hell are you this Friday evening, people? I just want you to know that your need to quit smoking has been deemed not necessary. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, today made a statement that essentially your desire to quit smoking for your health, your choice is not necessary. Apparently, cigarettes are safe, and for the health of the federal government and the coffers of the federal treasury, smoking is more important than your choice to not die prematurely. So, anyway, we'll talk about that. We're going to be talking about lots of stuff that's going to like make you pull your hair out tonight. We might have some fun with it, but ultimately it's a very serious thing. And I think that, we need to take this seriously. But anyway, hey, let's introduce my cohort, my, well, I don't want to say brother from another mother. That's cliche. But my partner in crime, Kevin.
What? Why are you bothering me?
Because
I'm just sitting here tweeting.
Oh, what are you tweeting?
I tweeted over you. I invited Nancy, and I don't know if she'll come.
Oh, well.
I hope she chokes on her fucking ice cream, though.
Do me a favor, guys. I did not get a chance to share the show on my social medias. To the different groups and things that I'm members of. So if you guys could spend like 20 seconds just sharing it to like one or two little groups that you're members of, that won't get you blocked because some groups don't like me. While
they're doing that, Patrick, I want to remind everybody that on May 27th in 2016, the Food and Drug Administration, why am I not sharing my Victor share screen?
I don't know. You didn't. You started talking. You didn't.
I'm just babbling like a freaking banshee. Oh, I didn't pre-rub it though. I want everybody to remember this tweet right here that I've screenshotted. If that is even a word, that's bigger.
You need to actually click on it though. Click on the picture.
To protect public health.
There we go. It's bigger.
All tobacco products are being regulated to ensure they are in compliance with safety standards. Now, let's break that down. They're going to protect public health by regulating all tobacco products, and they ensure that all these tobacco products are in compliance with safety standards. So that says what Patrick said at the beginning of his talk. Cigarettes are safe. I want everybody to remember that.
Yep.
I can't stop sharing.
You can unshare. Yeah.
My mouse is stuck.
Just click the button that says stop sharing. That's all I gotta do. So, anywho,
did I say I wanted to make sure that Nancy was choking on her ice cream? I was not sure.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I think I did.
Oh,
I did it then.
Kevin, she's an old lady, and they get aspiration pneumonia and things like that.
Well, they don't really need to breathe anyway, do they?
Well, you're old. And
there's machines. I just told you that there's machines. You don't really need to breathe on your own.
There are machines. Yeah, I know that there, and there's not as many people in the show right now watching the show. Because I know that they're all like on their way to Kenosha, Wisconsin to protect businesses and stuff.
Stop. I'm looking for something and I can't. Stop it.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to be talking about
Good.
that
Why did you
tonight.
start? Jesus Christ. See, I need a little button over here so I can shock your balls when you
You want like a remote control, like cock ring on me or something to shock
Yeah.
me?
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's exactly. By the way, I want everybody to know that although I don't like Patrick, I said I loved him earlier in the week.
That is true.
He's going to bring it up no matter what happens.
I actually wasn't. I had forgotten completely about it. But since you did bring it up, I will say, Kevin says he loves me.
But I still don't like you.
Kevin says he loves me.
I fucking hated to type it. I just hate. Oh my God. I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
For 20 minutes just retching. What do you want to start with, Zippy?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much. Hey, so I'm gonna scroll up here to the top. I'm gonna start at the top here, Kevin. No, I'm not gonna start at the top. I'm gonna start at the second from the top. How about that?
See, this is why you confuse me, and all the people think you're screwing with me, and you're just flipping around on me. Which is the second from the top.
Well, I'm still going here. I'm looking for the last invitation.
Okay,
that's the coloring book that we talked about last week. And I'm skipping the double lung transplant. I'm not going to talk about that.
That's fine.
Let's do the conflab. Let's do have we talked about FCTC and COP6 enough or COP9 enough?
Oh, #0 progress. Well, we know they're not doing anything for 2 more years.
Well, now we know that
because they don't care.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We already.
They don't like you either. Hi, Tom. Hi, Mallory. Hi, Liana. Hi.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's show this real quick. I like it when somebody gives us an attaboy, Kevin.
What?
I said, don't you have a mute button?
She wants to know if I have a mute button.
I've wondered.
Patrick has the mute button.
So
look at that.
I do want to say I do like it when we get an attaboy, and for those of you that didn't watch the COP the scope coverage, we did do an amazing 2-hour show with Richard Pruin and Skip Murray from the Safer Nicotine Wiki.
We just hosted it.
Talking about neurodiversity, because we've sort of taken a bite out of that bone and we're not giving it up, because it seems like we're the only ones that are willing to talk about it. But then last week I actually reposted the scope video on my channel, but I had to break it up into 2 pieces because StreamYard will only let me do on the we can actually upload pre-recorded videos and set them at specific times, and they'll broadcast them at the time I tell them to. So last week after the show, we debuted part 1 and part 2 of the Safer Nicotine and Neurodiversity show. Our friend Dr. Charles Gardner retweeted the part 2 and said that this is the best damn 50 minutes I've spent watching a podcast. History will not be kind to World Health Organization, FCTC, for ignoring the voices of people affected by their dogma, safer nicotine, therapeutic nicotine, and then he tags us all. So I really appreciate it when we get an attaboy for our good works, Kevin.
As do
Kevin. So that was cool. So I was very proud of the fact that we got an attaboy from Charlie.
And Peggy and Homicidal.
Oh, you're saying hello to people?
And Tom. I think I got them all. Yeah. I don't know.
Did you say hi to Will and Hamish?
Oh, no, Troop? I didn't see Will yet. No, I did. Hi, Will.
Yeah.
Troop!
Troop is here. I didn't hear you scream Troop. Homicidal and Mallory and Andy. Should we call him Andrew or Andy?
I don't know Tammy. Tammy said, this is totally not what I thought I would be hearing just now.
What were we
Probably-
talking about?
Probably what that I said I loved you or some crap like that.
Oh, well, I'm very lovable. I don't know what your problem is there, Kevin.
That's okay. I'm quoting you just like you're going to quote me. It's fine.
It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
So,
cigarettes are safe, so that settles.
Cigarettes are indeed safe, according to Nancy Pelosi, and we'll get into that here sometime in the next little bit. I'm still scrolling down. Oh well, do I want to use this one, or there's two articles I think that are basically about the same study.
All right.
So let's see. Excuse me. So this is from the Brown Daily Herald, and the headline is "Study Challenges Concern of E-Cigarette Use in High School Students. Researchers discuss theory of transition from e-cigarette to cigarette use." Basically saying we're going to talk about this imaginary gateway. So, though e-cigarettes were first introduced into the market as a safer alternative to smoking, their popularity among youth has raised concerns of increased rates of smoking. But a study published in October pushes back against this worry. Researchers found that high school seniors who currently smoke e-cigarettes, again, we need to respond to this in a nice way and correct these people and say we don't smoke an e-cigarette because there is no combustion.
Wow.
Anywho, researchers found that high school seniors who currently smoke e-cigarettes would likely have smoked traditional cigarettes, something that we've said many times. The number one key factor, I mean, most kids that smoke once might be introduced to the cigarettes because their friends do it, but they tend to keep doing it because of the need to keep doing it. And we talk about, stress, abuse, being unhappy, depressed, all these things, being neurodiverse, undiagnosed ADHD, all sorts of stuff. We already know that somewhere between 40 and 50% of all cigarettes smoked are smoked by people that have issues. And whether they're diagnosed or undiagnosed. And that's probably not a good estimate because there are people walking around that have stuff, that have issues, that have never talked to anybody about it.
Yep.
So, go over there. But anyway, it says here, the study was conducted by Natasha Sokol, and we've seen her name on multiple studies. Issues. Well, I mean, that's a different issue, Cigar Babe. But,
Being old.
living with neurodiversity, living with depression, those issues. But if you want to consider yourself in that category because you're old, that's okay.
Nobody's older than Ed.
We support you. Actually, I don't want that would be rude.
She's 21. I've told you this before. Eddie.
The study was conducted by Natasha Sokol, assistant professor of psychiatry and human behavior and research scientist at the Miriam Hospital Center for Behavioral and Preventative Medicine, and Justin Feldman, who is also a name that we see a lot on studies, research fellow at the Harvard FXB Center for Health and Human Rights. Hey, gosh. That's one of those things that the World Health Organization is supposed to acknowledge because they have that Convention on Human Rights and Health, and that second convention, the FCTC, specifically mentions harm reduction.
It does.
Anyway, the quote here is, this is a huge question in tobacco control, the idea being that e-cigarettes are an effective cessation tool to help people move away from smoking cigarettes. But research has demonstrated that e-cigarettes are being used by youth who don't use other tobacco products. There's concern in the public health community that the benefits of e-cigarettes as a cessation tool could be negated by initiating youth into nicotine dependence. This concern stems... What?
Dependence. I like that.
Well,
I'll almost take that.
Almost. I mean, there's been already a couple bad words that I don't like smoking e-cigarettes. This concern stems from the gateway theory, the idea if people get addicted to nicotine and e-cigarettes, they will switch from e-cigarettes to cigarettes, said Professor of Behavioral Health and Science Jasjit Singh Aluwalia, who has I think I pushed through that one pretty good. Who has extensively researched tobacco use, but was not part of this study. The theory is grounded in evidence, including findings from a 2015 study showing that water pipe smoking is harmful, addictive, can provide a gateway to cigarettes as well as thwart cessation. What? Water pipe?
What?
Why is he talking about water pipes?
I don't know, Patrick. Why are you?
That has nothing to do with vaping.
I just don't know.
Sokol and Feldman study tested this concept with e-cigarettes. What was really important for me to understand was whether the availability of e-cigarettes was not just initiating youth, but into tobacco or nicotine dependence, but specifically youth who wouldn't have otherwise used a nicotine or tobacco product. If these kids are kids who otherwise would have used cigarettes, I'm not so sure that I share the level of concern over them using in the first place.
Imagine that.
That's a pretty ballsy statement and very true. One challenge the researchers faced was designing the methods for their epidemiological research. You see how I said epidemiological without even stuttering?
I'd have paused.
I know, right? The ideal way to conduct the experiment would be to compare patterns of smoking in places where vaping became available to those where it was not yet available. But vaping basically became available everywhere at once in 2014. That's not true.
Yeah. Well,
that is definitely not true. There are rural areas that still have never had a vape shop. As a result, Sokol and Feldman used data from a large sample of high schools from the Monitoring the Future 12th grade data set between 2009 and 2018 in the United States. Using this information, the researchers determined whether youth who used e-cigarettes in 2014 to 2018 would have likely been smokers in the period preceding e-cigarette availability, according to their study. Using the data from 2019 to 2014, where vaping became widely available, the researchers projected the expected number of smokers in 2014 and 2018. They generated a score for each individual in the study based on how likely they would have been to smoke using demographic factors, such as stress, socioeconomical, issues.
Yep.
Where they are. Are they in poorer areas? Those things. With that score, you can forecast the future. What proportion of the 12th grade population would smoke every year if the trajectory continued? Then they compared this data from 2014 to 2018. When vaping was available, they found a decrease in about 2% in the number of 12th graders who were actually smokers when vapes were available. See, I don't like that word vapes either, Kevin.
Vapes.
Yeah. Were available as compared to the projected number without vapes. Mm-hmm. So basically, I'm going to skip this next paragraph, blah, blah, blah. So in the scenario in which e-cigarettes would have never been made available, what we see is that youth smoking rates would not have been declining as quickly. Oh my God. Did he just say that e-cigarette availability helped accelerate the decline in smoking in youth? Oh my God.
How many fucking times have I said that? And then you've said that. And...
I know. Everything in here is stuff that we've said. But neither one of us have PhDs, Kevin.
Yeah, well.
I mean, could we get an honorary one like Stanton Glantz?
I'd like one. Why not?
You think that...
Somebody send me one.
Could we get a public health, an honorary public health degree like he did?
I'm honestly not fond of I Love Me walls, but that would go on. I would start an I Love Me wall for that.
Hey, I do have a couple degrees. But
I bet you do.
I don't have them hanging on the wall.
There you go.
My mom has them, actually. She says she paid for them. So she didn't, but she says she did.
Yeah, well.
It's the stress, man. It's the stress.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Cigarettes are safe, by the way, Patrick. See, I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't until
that could
Nancy
be our
Pelosi
drinking
told me. Nancy Pelosi told me today. So
I heard.
everything that she says is true.
She's reiterating what the FDA said at the beginning of the show. That's all she's doing. But if she doesn't choke on her ice cream, maybe she'll tell us something else Monday.
So there's a lot of concern about kids using tobacco products, Kevin.
There is. Absolutely.
A lot of concern. So I was in a chat room. It was the Scope review show that was like last week, or no, this week, just a few days ago.
This week.
And
you got blocked again,
people,
didn't you?
No, a couple of the people that were in there are older, and we were talking about smoking in school and how there was a designated smoking area for students when I was in school.
Yes, as well as I.
Okay, so you do know that kids aren't allowed to smoke in school anymore.
Correct. Last I knew.
Like, my parents had to send a letter saying, "I know my kid smokes like a chimney. Please let him smoke in school."
We didn't even need that. We just went to the smoking area.
So, anywho, whether that's a borderline child abuse or whatever they would call that these days, but
well, now wait a minute.
What?
Erin said her child 17 vaped, so don't give me this child.
Who's Erin? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Erin. Actually, it rhymes with Karen, but anyway.
She blocked me. I can't see her anymore.
Cigar Babe said she got suspended. Were you smoking in the school, or were you?
Well, then you could hang out with Dino more. Playing with Dino in the parking lot or then in the backyard. As long as the pterodactyls didn't fly by and get you, CB, then.
I just heard her car door. She's on her way to your house. Man, she slammed that friggin' thing hard.
I can't believe you made me say that, Kevin.
Oh, pot. Oh, okay, that's different. Yeah, we had a breeze. We just walk through and cup it and keep on rolling.
I think I bought pot from one of my teachers.
No.
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Baylor.
So they're extremely concerned about kids vaping, Kevin.
I know.
And smoking. But they're so concerned
weird.
they haven't did a stop smoking campaign commercial thing in like years.
In fact,
like we did the due diligence and looked.
Right.
So, there is that.
Oh yeah,
I had some spicy ramen a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, my body temperature is like super high right now because that stuff burned you.
That's because I told you I loved you earlier in the week. That's all.
Is that what it is? Anyway, so they're so concerned. They're so concerned. They're going after every little thing. So Juul, which comes in I'm not defending Juul, but Juul, which comes in a white package with like a colored square. I mean, the most basic packaging design ever. Now, I actually have seen their print ads, and I if I was being super hypercritical, I could say, well, that person does look kind of young, but I'm an old man, so everybody looks young, except for you, Kevin, and CB.
I know. I've earned every one of these wrinkles. I've earned every fucking one of them.
Before we started this show, you didn't have any wrinkles.
I know.
That's fairly. But so now every little thing is marketing to youth, right? Every little thing.
Yeah. No, not every little thing. Now they can still drink. They can still do drugs. It's just,
but I'm talking about specifically every little thing that has to do with
nicotine,
tobacco, or vaping, or whatever. Yeah. So Stanford Medicine release this article the other day announcing the release and the development and release of a game targeted to teens to educate them about vaping.
out of your fucking tree. Every one of you people.
So this is with help from Stanford scientists. A school district in Southern California has released a free game app called Beatnik Boulevard to teach kids and teens about the hazards of vaping.
So what say that again? Beatnik Boulevard.
Beatnik Boulevard. Should I click on this?
Is that a double entendre? What?
Well, that's almost like us. That's like hipster.
No, Hamish, it's the light. Watch. See that? I don't.
So
you fucking idiots. Beatnik bongos. What do you stop?
So kick tobacco to the curb. Beatnik Boulevard.
Oh, it's
San
already
Bernardino.
out.
Oh yes.
Oh shit! I didn't realize it was out.
Is there a video with gameplay?
I didn't see this. I just noticed it when you.
Let me play this.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Let me make sure I don't have it muted.
If it's playing a Beatles song, I'm going to be pissed. Oh my God. This is just double plus good. Double plus good. Stop.
Uh-huh.
You got $40 million to put this piece of shit together for a kid. You couldn't do better graphics than that. That sounds like a 1984 Nintendo game or something.
It's a side scroller. It's kind of like Sim City. You can develop your block, and you get points for othering people and demonizing people for their choices that you don't agree with.
What happened to the bullying outcries past few years?
Well, no, you're allowed to bully people as long as you bully the people they want you to bully, Kevin.
Well, I'm going to bully Nancy Pelosi, but she deserves it.
So
not that she's going to care. I'll offer her ice cream. I'm sorry, but all right, go on. I'll shut up. Beatnik fucking Boulevard.
So this says vaping devices are marketed in ways that appeal to teenagers, said Bonnie Halpern-Felsher, PhD.
She's another one.
A professor of pediatrics at Stanford Medicine who studies teens' tobacco and marijuana use and helped develop the game. It makes sense to counteract this with creative teen-friendly tactics in anti-tobacco education. So it's not anti-tobacco. I gotta take this off screen. I'm gonna get real serious when I look at this. This is not anti-tobacco strategy. This is anti-human strategy. Exactly. This is to diminish the value of other people because you don't like the behaviors that they're exhibiting. That is what this is. This is shaming, demonizing, and othering people because you don't like them. They're different than you.
Smoke-free zones. Make your smoke-free zones. Push those people away. We don't like them.
You go over there and go to the curb, Kevin, and hang out with the other stinky smoker people.
I don't see Mark in here. Indoctrination is pretty easy when you got a 9-year-old.
So I do have to address something that's being said in the chat room. Before the show started, I was in my office and I was enjoying the new release of Kiss Destroyer, which is one of the best albums ever of all time. Yeah. And little did I know that today when I was browsing the new release section on my music app, that they had just released the 45th anniversary of Kiss Destroyer, which was one of the very first records, and I'm talking about vinyl records, that I ever owned. And it was the very first concert that I attended at the age of 7.
Chris was like not even born.
And I said to Kevin when he showed up into the green room, I said, did you know that this album was 45 years old?
That's not right. It can't be right.
And I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah. You got regrets older than that,
See,
don't you?
Addie's on our side.
Yeah.
He says,
Exactly.
Fire, shout it out loud. Yes. We were listening to Shout It Out Loud right before we came live. But anyway, not to digress, not to go off, because we were picking on Mick for being old.
Well,
earlier. And I just
we know you were.
Kevin, why are you
Words
throwing
in
me
my
under the
mouth.
bus?
Don't put words in my mouth.
It's not very nice. It's not very nice. So anyway, so they're yelling at us for marketing tobacco products and vape products to youth, but they developed a fucking video game that shows people vaping. Apparently, there's a pop-up talking about snus, which is
Dr. Gardner has a whole thread on this children bullshit story,
which is a snus, which is a product that most people can't even find.
I've never seen it. I've never looked, but
there was one convenience store here where I was getting my general snus, but they don't have it anymore. They had a little refrigerator. There's a little tiny refrigerator in the tobacco section behind the cash register, and they kept them refrigerated there. They don't have them anymore.
I knew about cigarettes and Red Man. That's the only two things I knew about.
A beach nut.
Yeah, beach nut. Yeah.
And back in old timey days, you had the little powdered snuff and the little amber.
As a kid, I didn't know it, but yeah, my friends were beach nut or cigarettes. That was it. Well, pot, but that's a different show, different time.
Yes, we don't talk about that on this show.
What?
It's not our thing.
Well, no, yeah. You started it earlier.
Anyway, so back to the general topic real quick. So they're very, very, very concerned. Even though we produced a study that showed that the kids that are using vaping products more than likely would have been the same kids that were smoking, and that e-cigarette use has accelerated the decline in smoking in youth. And there's proof. Like the study used statistical analysis and behavioral models to show. So, but yet they're still so, what's the word I'm looking for, Kevin? It's they're so afraid. They're so, they're clutching their pearls, whatever you want to call it. Insanely afraid that some kid is going to be using a vapor product. So insanely afraid that this week, a school principal in Canada, made a boy drop his pants so that he could inspect to see if he had hidden a vape pen in his underwear.
Do you know how fast I can drive to a school? If they had just told me that.
Let me repeat this for you, because I'm not a parent, Kevin, but you are. And there are people in the chat room that are parents. The school principal, and I don't know where this occurred. Like, did he just stop the kid in the hallway and say, "Hey, drop your pants right now in front of everybody"?
Right.
Or did
it doesn't matter why.
Did he take him into a private room alone?
I don't know if we know that.
And have him drop his pants. So anyway, this is a Montreal mom. She says that is not acceptable. Montreal mom furious. Son told to drop his pants at school during search for vaping products.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a video here, but I'm not going to click on that. So a Montreal mom is outraged that her teenage, I'm assuming that's supposed to be teenager or teenage son, but anyway, had to lower his pants at his school last week during a search for vaping products, a search that one constitutional rights attorney said went too far. Duh.
You think?
Andrew Forgione, a grade 9 student at LaSalle Community Comprehensive High School. And let me just say, I did search, but that school does not have a Twitter account. Called it a traumatizing experience when he and 3 other students were implicated in the search, during which he had to lower his pants, but not his underwear. All 4 students were between the ages of 13 and 16. He said, I dropped them. I had to grab the side of my boxers and move them around, move my waistband to see if anything fell out. And I had to turn around and do the same thing with my back.
Mm-hmm.
Forgione 15 told CTV News. His mother, Linda McCarthy, said when he told her what had happened, she was furious. Kevin, if you, again,
What?
You just said that you could drive really fast to school. So if your kid came home from school, your 15-year-old child, and said, the principal made me take my pants off at school today.
Stop. Made me take my pants off. I'm going to call the cops, and I'm going to tell them that someone tried molesting my child. That's what I would say. Is that an overreaction, do you think, Patrick? Because that's what I would say.
So here's the deal, though. I can almost guarantee if the principal had called your ass at home and said, could you come up here? We're doing a search for hidden vaping paraphernalia and would like you to search your child.
Mm-hmm. I'd have been okay with that.
Yeah. That would have been, I would have been like,
it's
yeah,
on the parent.
And if he had it, I would have beaten his ass in front of the school. But having some stranger,
No. Zero reason for that. Zero reason for that.
So,
this is Canada. I don't know if innocence is proven until you're guilty or not. I don't know what Canada's laws are. He's underage. You don't tell some kid to take his fucking pants down, period.
No, because there's a thing called sexual predators.
Unless he's dying, there's no reason. And he's got to be stabbed in his dick in order to do anything with his pants. You can't give me a reason.
Now, we have to go on. I mean, obviously, that part is that's an illegal search right there, right? Yeah. So it said the school board said the search was regrettable, but school officials did find a vaping device or vaping pen on Forgione. According to the school's policy, the school board policy, students are banned from bringing any illicit substances and items into the premises, including vaping paraphernalia. Mm-hmm. However, the school board said an investigation is underway to look at what happened, but says there was no malicious intent in the search.
Bullshit.
So the Lester B. Pearson School Board is the first to say, at our level, this is regrettable. We do not accept this as a means or a way to investigate something like vaping in the washrooms. Our assistant director general is involved. Our regional director is involved. They're all at the school. They're asking questions, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. So then lawyer Julius Gray said it's clear to him that a search like this was unreasonable.
Beyond unreasonable.
If it's just vaping stuff and it's not something that's immediately dangerous, I think it's going too far.
If he had a gun, I might almost maybe say yeah.
Well, I mean, compared to, I mean, the rules today, Kevin, the rules today in school are significantly different than the rules when we were in school.
Yeah.
Now I already talked about, that we had a smoking section in school.
Right.
And, other things like we were talking about, guns, for example. I went to redneck school, and a lot of us went hunting before school.
Yep.
I'm trying to get comfortable.
Yep.
And I would say 50%, if not more, of the cars or the trucks in the parking lot had gun racks in the back window with guns in them.
Yeah.
And nobody thought twice about it.
Yeah.
I carried a pocket knife in my pocket. That's why it's called a pocket knife.
Mm-hmm.
I never once reached into my pocket and pulled it out during school, except to maybe peel an apple.
Right.
And nobody felt threatened or,
Well, they're
worried
damage
or
control.
afraid.
The damage control that they're doing is shitty, and it doesn't matter to me.
So
there's no zero excuse, and you can go to my share screen whenever you like.
Oh, which one are you sharing? Which one are you sharing? Are you jumping the gun?
No, it's literally this. It's about this.
Okay.
Is that big enough?
I can't read that. I can't read it.
Oh my God, you're old and blind.
I wear trifocals, dude.
Hang on, let me see if I click on it. Okay, well that's a little better. Has Lester Pearson Brown School Board searched all students for any illicit substances in the past, and will they now search all students in the same manner for all illicit substances in the future? Will staff drop their pants for other staff? There's zero excuse for this. Prove me wrong. That's all I had to say.
Yeah.
That's it. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. No excuse. Zero.
So Pip is jumping the gun though. Or no, Hamish is jumping the gun.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
We're getting there. We're getting there, damn it, Hamish.
We're just a couple chuckleheads.
I'm finding my poll. Where's my poll?
I got that too. I got that up. I'm ready.
Well, it's because I have like 15 video posts that I posted all the shorts the other day.
Oh my goodness. There.
No, I don't like yours because it's black. It's harder to read.
But look at the question.
It's harder to read. I can't read that. I don't know why you do that. Switch to the white background. It's easier to read.
I don't know how to do that. Leave me alone.
Well, you somehow switched it to black, so.
Yeah, but that was like I couldn't figure out where my analytics were a while back, if you remember. Anyway.
Well, it's because you're old. So I did a search, or I did a survey. Kevin got mad at me because I didn't use the Safer Nicotine Wiki survey software to do this.
I didn't get mad at you. You're such a fucking liar.
You sent me a tweet saying, "Damn it, why didn't you use the Safer Nicotine survey?" You did. Don't lie.
I did not.
You're like a woman. It's like I can't believe half the stuff you say, Kevin.
I messaged you and said use it.
What is the appropriate response if you think a teen is smoking or vaping? Option 1, strip search, which apparently they're doing in Canada. Option 2, peek under bathroom doors, which
or a mirror
in New Zealand.
Yeah. Yep.
Tase them, which they're doing in Maryland,
Jersey, and Maryland.
That was the Maryland boardwalk, the one that we talked about before. And there was another one that I couldn't fit because Twitter doesn't allow, but it only allows 4 options on your survey. But there was another one which was remove all the bathroom doors.
Yeah.
And I was called out on this wording on this one. Phil caught me on this one.
Caught him.
Sit down and talk with them.
Yeah.
So I do have to worry about some of our friends on Twitter though, Kevin, because 13.9% of the respondents had tase them.
You thought I was one.
I did. I did. And then there's that small pervy percentage that vote, that 1.7% of respondents that said strip search. Guys are.
I think they were
perverted.
being. I don't use this often. I think they were being facetious. I really do.
No, I think we have some pervies.
You think? Okay, all right.
I think we do have some pervos in our. It could be Paul. Tic Tac. It could be Tic Tac. Just saying.
Do we have slander insurance just in case? Because I was wondering about that last week. We should.
No, we don't.
Oh, that's right. We got freedom of speech. Okay, so even kids in Australia, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, because the reason I did this, because we did a review, Kevin. We went back through, you and I both, went back through the timeline and found these options have been taken by different people. We can
just some of the ones we know about.
Well, these are the ones that we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
These are news articles that we've mentioned on the show before of different strategies that these people have used to dissuade or search if kids are using vapor products. So here's the New Zealand story.
Yep.
Auckland principal defends a photo of her checking the toilet cubicle to see if students are vaping. So that actually happened. This is a real thing. Here's a photograph of her peeking under the toilet. I don't know. I think Stan has me blocked, by the way. So there's this one.
What are you going to see from that angle to begin with, except ass and elbows? You're not going to see somebody vaping.
Well, they're going to see what direction the feet are pointed. If the pants are around their ankles.
Oh my God.
If you're in there smoking, you may not have your drawers taken down or vaping. Here's the other one. This is another option that we couldn't put on the poll, but this is the San Jose. This is San Jose. They're locking the bathroom doors.
Not all, but yes, locking a third or some bullshit story.
Yeah.
So little Karen can't pee.
Or little Karen has to walk further to get to pee, so she might piss herself because they're
actually that's where it is. She received a call. Her daughter became upset not being able to use the bathroom. So you've got somebody with medical issues that has to use the bathroom, and they've got to walk to the other side of the frickin' school, campus, whatever the word is y'all use in your area. Then CB, I asked that on Twitter this week. You already got these kids in front of you and you're learning so much. Why aren't you just asking the kids, period? Asking the kids in another issue, but yeah.
Well, why wouldn't, like I said, I'm almost positive, we talked about, Mowgli says that little Mowgli would have pissed on the bathroom door.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock the door. Mark your territory, folks.
They don't care. They don't care.
They really don't.
No.
They
really
don't
give a fuck about you or your children.
So after I started hitting this topic on Twitter, Kevin says, that's when he tweeted the one about searching all the students or all the faculty, blah blah blah. He says, I'm doing my best to one up you. And then I responded, let me know when you do.
I sent you one, I think today. I don't know. Didn't I send you one I upped you on? Oh, no, I didn't one up you. Generally.
No.
Oh.
So you did send me the Vaping 360 article about this topic, and that they had taken a picture of my Twitter, or they had linked my tweet poll.
They certainly did.
In the middle of their article.
Well, that's not the tweet I was talking. What was I talking about?
So
the cigarettes.
Both Phil and I are quoted. Our Twitters are quoted on the Vaping 360.
I've never been quoted on Vaping 360 that I'm aware of.
I told you I feel special. So there's Phil's tweet.
You're special.
He's just retweeting. I feel special anytime that Phil and I are both mentioned in the same. I do have a little bit of respect for the rodent.
I love that rodent. I don't know who he is, and I love him.
Obviously, there's our poll that we only had 115 respondents on our survey. I'm
going to clarify.
Sort of
no, it's more than that, isn't it?
No, it's only 115.
Let me look at your time. I think it was like 120 something in the end.
No, it says 115.
At that point.
No, that's a link. That's a live link to the tweet, Kevin.
Okay, all right.
That's not a screenshot. That's an actual live link to the tweet.
All right.
So,
and
I said, let me know when you do, because I haven't noticed it.
You did like 15 tweets in a row. Can you outdo me?
Hey, I did 15 video tweets in a row, Kevin.
I was in them.
That
don't
you weren't
count.
Speaking. You don't.
Yeah.
I actually.
I wasn't.
Neither one of us, except for the very last one. The only people that are talking on those videos are the guests.
Are those people?
Like I didn't, but the very last one I did speak on. Yeah. Because I was fired up. Mm-hmm. I never get fired up.
No.
So
very calm.
Let me go to the timeline here real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Twitter thing, Kevin. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, for the scope thing, they asked us to make little 3 to 5 minute videos for filler.
Yep. Like
pre-recorded videos that they can play during the scope thing between the live presentations and stuff for filler. Mm-hmm. So I did. I made like 25 3 to 5 minute videos.
Yeah.
So this week, there we are, Kevin. I better
look at that.
I better tag this. This is like one of those inception moments. I should pin this to my profile. Yes, pin it. Anywho, by the way, there's a CASAG call to action that you guys should pay attention to. We're going to talk about that topic. Hey, there's Charles, or that's Cliff. Mm-hmm. There's Cliff. I tagged somebody who is afraid of alligators that lives in Houston. He said, "There's no alligators in Houston." I was like, "Yeah, there is." So anyway, sure. If you scroll through my timeline, you'll see that there's a bunch of these little short tweets, and these are all clips. There's 15 of them. These are all short little clips of our shows with our guests, making a very dramatic point or making a very good point. They're on YouTube, they're on Twitter, and they're on Facebook. I broadcast them all at the same time. Well, actually 5 minutes apart.
Yep.
So that you could watch them in order if you wanted to. I think, if y'all want to be helpful to me, please share them, retweet them,
and subscribe.
Well, obviously, yeah. If you want to go to the YouTube page and subscribe, that would also be helpful.
Hit that like button.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, these are all awesome. And so yesterday was the Great American Smokeout, right?
I've got a tweet ready to go for that. You ready?
I thought it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Okay, because I did a really good one.
Okay, you want to do yours? Or you want to do this one?
Well, it was actually in response to it was a reply. It wasn't a. I have to go over here to the replies because I actually. It was yesterday. This is how unplanned we are.
Of course, yeah.
There's comic books. There's comic book underwear showing on my timeline here.
Well, they dedicated 24 hours to say that you should quit smoking. That's what they do.
So here's one. So this is just my generic. Mm-hmm. I quit smoking in 1 day with vaping technology, and I did. I quit in 1 day. Nothing else worked. Patches, gums, lozenges, and pills failed every time. I haven't smoked a cigarette in 11 years. Our story should not be ignored. And here's a scientist talking about her mom. And this is Eliana's story talking about her mom who had smoked for 40 years or whatever, and how she loved smoking. And nothing worked for her. And she was going to smoke until she died. And then she found vaping. And, vaping saved her mother's life. So on the American Cancer Society post from yesterday, today is the Great American Smoke Out. Quitting smoking isn't easy. It takes time and a plan, blah, blah, blah. And a bunch of us, like Amanda Wheeler. Look, there's Amanda Wheeler. I smoked for years, even during cancer treatment. I would light up a cigarette waiting for chemo and radiation. I kept smoking for another 10 years. Couldn't quit, found vaping, and I quit in a month, butterscotch flavor. Since then, I have helped countless others quit in my vape shops. Thank you very much for sharing this. It is very inspiring. The At Vapors Alliance is also working tirelessly to convey this message to politicians and the media. Thank you, Maria Chapalia. Hey, there's Addie.
Yep.
Addie also, THR needs to include flavored nicotine vaping, 18% cessation rate, 80% success rate. Multiple studies prove 95% less harmful. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those numbers are not perfect, but yeah. Juka, who doesn't even live in America.
I think he's actually outer space. I don't know where he is.
I don't think Juka. I don't think Juka is American. And there's Skip and Charles, John Odell. That's why I knew to quit smoking. Switched to vaping. Been away from tobacco for 3 years. D-Stat. Hey, there's some schmuck named vaping it. This is one of his the cleaner graphics I've seen this douchebag use.
Shut it. Now that's
there's
been.
Again.
I gave him his answer. Yep.
What answer?
I gave Charles an answer to that.
Oh yeah, you went to the Wayback Machine and found it.
Oh, you saw it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was pretty interesting because they liked it, then they didn't like it. Isn't that funny? So he did a little.
And Dave and James.
Yep.
And Victor. Jim McDonald. There you are again.
No.
You're like a Brian Foytik.
Yes. Simmer down.
Chihuahua with a bone over there, Kevin. There's Logan and James Jarvis, Shane Devlin, Philip,
yep.
Victoria. We know Victoria. Phil, the rodent. Eso, Hamish, who's also in the chat room.
I don't see anybody replying to them because you're not doing this as a look what we said. You're showing everyone that's responded to this tweet from the American Cancer
Everybody
Society.
That's on this tweet. Everybody that I can see
so far have I seen one guy or one girl say, I used the patch and it worked well. Not once.
Yeah.
Not
we own this thread. Like everybody that's in here. I know everyone in here.
30 or 40 responses or so. Yeah. Not one. Where are all my nicotine patch people?
I'm still looking for mine.
Snubby.
Oh, there's a snooze guy.
Snubby. Yep.
Yeah.
Him and Brent and there's another one. I can't remember. I can never remember these guys. They followed me and I was like, snooze.
I'm just looking at the number of people on this thread that have been on this show.
Matthew's been on the show.
I know.
Right?
Yes.
I'm just saying. Dieter's
not been on the show, but I know Dieter.
Right.
Vape for Life. Stu. Make the switch today.
Dave.
Marcelo.
Yep.
Man, my response. Sean Casey. He's been on the show twice.
I don't see a patch or a gum or other.
No, where the hell is my? I don't see. I quit using the lozenges. I quit using hypnosis. I quit using Pharmacy. There's David Forsyth with the Duncan with like the 50 different health organizations. Deplorable coon-ass.
Dr. Carter. That's what I want to see. That's what I like.
There's Coriolis.
Yep. And she's going to show the tweet I was going to show anyway. So there's that. That settled that right there.
The Iowa. That's what's his name? Tom
Glowa.
No, but
Glowa.
no. That's AG Iowa is what that says.
Tom.
Oh
crap.
Red Devil. That is not even what is that?
Miller. Tom Miller.
Yeah, Tom Miller. What is this?
Not sure.
This is just a picture of some chick. She didn't put any words. She just posted her picture.
Just showing her happiness, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. Show additional replies that could. Am I offensive?
Oh, it may offend you. Twitter, you don't know Patrick anyway.
All right, damn it. Where's my?
So there you go.
My response didn't get here. I tagged American Cancer with the picture and basically said this is a scientist talking about how her mom quit vaping or quit smoking with vaping. Man. But anywho, so yesterday was the Great American Smoke Out, and we literally monopolized that thread. So that's an embarrassment for an American Cancer Society.
Well, they think they can tweet. Yeah, they tweet 3 things and then they're good if they tweet that many.
Will, if you use Twitter, it doesn't make you a twit. You're just a twit.
Twitterer. I don't know.
I just felt like I needed to dunk on him. He's in the chat room. He's like, if you use Twitter, does that make you a twit?
That's right.
No, it's you.
So stop sharing, share screen. I'm going to elaborate with Dr. Gardner. There.
Are you going to hit a button? There it goes. Let me get my mouse.
So Dr. Gardner asked if that meme that you said was pretty clean compared to my sloppy ones. He elaborated on it. The American Cancer Society CEO, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm the CEO, not president. 2018, if a smoker chooses to try e-cigarettes, we support that effort. And we have that on the Wayback Machine. If you do not know what Wayback Machine is and you can't find something, sometimes even tweets you can find if you know the wording or you have the link. In 2019, because of teen vaping, they retracted that statement. But it still says former smokers now using e-cigarettes should not revert to smoking.
They should just stop vaping, though.
Right. And he's quote tweeting me, and the second tweet of his for the listeners on the radio and whatever says, so American Cancer Society knows e-cigarettes are safer and save smokers' lives. Now, remember, when they first put that first one out, that was the NAMES, whatever it is.
NASEM, the
NASEM report showing that it's safer. So they knew it was safer and save smokers' lives. Don't revert to smoking. But its concern over the teen dependence outweighed its concern for adult deaths. Teen vaping dropped, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just put desk murder. I got nothing else to say.
So the question, though, is, and we've asked this question on the show before, Kevin. Yeah. What exactly is the threshold
for
how many adult lives? Yeah, I mean, if they're saying that the risk of generating creating a new generation of nicotine addicts, which is not true.
I'll clear this up for you. One anecdotal child
is worth
every adult's life, every adult's choice, every adult's freedoms from choosing something less harmful. That's one anecdotal child. Period. That's your answer.
So
Fight.
yeah, so
Prove me wrong.
their yardstick, of course, is that if you are a youth child, if you're a minor child, and you've used vaping once, if you've taken one toot off of an e-cigarette,
if you saw someone do
within a year, Kevin, quit talking over me. You can talk off over me when I'm done. Yeah, their measurement is if a child uses an electronic cigarette, takes one puff in the year, that's ever use. That is habitual use. That is current use. So
no matter what,
one child experimenting with one puff is worth all of the adult smokers' lives on the planet. Is that what you're saying, Kevin?
That is what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay. I just verifying. Verify. I just wanted to make sure that
you can call Matt Myers yourself if you like, but that's my take on it. Pip is like rolling tonight.
Let me ban that woman.
Ah! She's a friend of the show. You're not allowed.
I'm banning by one.
I don't like that. I want them out.
I gotta go find a safe space, Kevin.
So what is the threshold for changing that? What's the threshold to change that?
Well, here's the thing. So the only way that John Q. Public or Jane Q. Public are going to care about any topic is if it affects them, right?
Yep.
So during the review of the scope thing on the scope review show,
and thank you, Liana, by the way.
I was huh?
Liana complimented us earlier. I believe it was Liana.
Oh, okay. So we were talking about how is it that how do we engage when how do we get past, I gotta refresh my drink real quick, how do we get past Bloomberg money and all of that?
Yeah.
How do we, the only way we win, engaging with politicians doesn't work. We've been doing it for a decade. It don't fucking work because we ain't got no teeth. And there's only so many of us.
Yep.
The only way we get heard, the only way we get feared, the only way we get any sort of response is if we sway those people that vote, regardless of whether they vape. So, hey, Cherry Lie. Cherry Lie says hello.
What?
I miss Cherry Lie.
Me too.
So, we've been engaging with politicians. We've had lobbyists in DC. We've had we've had all that. Vendors have done an amazing job with communicating. They've done fly-ins to DC and had face-to-face meetings with federal level politicians. Obviously the state people, they do a decent job of communicating with their state representatives, but really the only way that we become a force to be feared is when we get the general public on our side. That's how pot won. They got enough people that don't smoke pot, or it wasn't directly important to them, but to actually have an opinion on it.
Yep.
So, guys like Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who had been in the past, because he's a neuroscientist, had been very publicly anti-marijuana, had said awful things about marijuana.
Yep.
But then when he started researching it, he actually did like a pot documentary for CNN talking about how great pot was. So when you get those guys to do a film and then people watch that film and go, oh,
Right.
Pot isn't bad because that little girl doesn't have seizures anymore because she has pot. So
Yep.
the only way we win is to win the hearts and minds of people that don't use this stuff. That we have to figure out ways to make this particular topic important to people that don't use it.
And that's, you know how you do that? The only way I can think of. You tell all your friends and their parents and their sisters and their cousins and their mothers and their preachers and the hookers that they use on Thursday nights. And wait a minute, wrong show.
Hey,
and
in some places, those
everyone
hookers are
else.
unionized and they have some power, dude. Let's go ahead. The sex workers, we need to engage with them
when they let you engage, right? So, and until that happens, when I said it to my mom, she said, "How did you quit?" I said, "I started vaping." She goes, "Oh, you're still smoking then?" Okay, Mom. You know, no changing that. You know, fine.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, boomer. Aren't you a boomer? No, you're not a boomer.
No, somebody. I'm a generation. I'm Gen X, but I do hear "okay, boomer" a lot because apparently, I use common sense. Some people, even people that are older than me, that are trying to pretend like they're young, and they engage with the younger folks, or
Like
they're
Ed.
mentally immature. They do. So yes, we need to figure out ways to get the people that don't use this stuff to care about this stuff. And you know, and I made the comment. You can go, it's on film. You can actually find it. You know, somebody said, well, you know, we need to, you know, draw the line, draw the comparison between all of the nanny states stuff like Bloomberg tried to ban sweetened caffeinated sodas of certain size in New York when he was there, and you know they were naming all this other stuff, and I'm like, but you forget the fact that there's a huge portion of the American population that are more than willing to allow the government to tell them what is best for them.
Yes, because they don't know any better, or they're just
so
dumb.
When you tell them, and then you can't even use the MSA. You can't even use the MSA thing because you start talking about tobacco taxes and the fact even if you tell them, you know, this money is not being used for healthcare, it's being used for you know, other government expenses,
golf carts,
and people are going to go, oh well, that means that my regular taxes are lower because they're using the money from tobacco to pay expenses that my tax money would normally pay. So that really doesn't bother me either.
Right.
So, you know, it's the what's in it for me thing for a lot of people. And if you tell them, oh, well, you know, there's this MSA money that's not being used to help people, but it's being used to pay, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're going to, well, my taxes would go up if that money wasn't being used for those things. So I don't care about it. So,
honestly,
you know,
as of today, I've decided that ice cream flavors should all, except chocolate and vanilla, should be taxed, and all lattes and frattes and cappuccinos and frappuccinos and all that. It's all should be triple taxed from today on. Build back better, of course.
Well, I don't know. Good. You know, Mallory says wait till smoking goes back up to 1950 standards. I don't think it'll ever go back up to like 60% of the population smoking. I just don't think so. And that's literally what it was in the 1950s. I mean,
10 to 15, 60. Maybe 20 years from now, it'll be 5% worldwide. You might find 10 here, and you might find 12 here, and you might find 15, but you're going to have an average of 5.
Yeah, I don't imagine you're going to see 1950s numbers ever again. But they're going to go back up, and obviously we've already shown that in small areas where, you know, prohibitive legislation's already passed, the smoking rate has gone up.
Yeah, pockets, and it will.
But speaking of pockets, Kevin,
like deep ones,
I mean,
a pocket pool or what?
Well, I mean, I won't talk about pocket pool in front of a mixed audience, Kevin. That would be rude. So everybody is aware that there's a thing called the Build Back Better bill.
Something.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of funny because it literally is a bill that we have to pay.
And Logan will pay. My grandson's son will pay.
Yeah, I mean, this could be generations. This is something like $600 billion added to the deficit, which is the highest that it's ever been, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree on that, right? So in this bill, and we've talked about it, there is a very crazy nicotine tax, which they say makes it equal to the amount of tax that's on a cigarette. So here's the thing, though, Kevin.
Explain this to me. Mansplain it.
When you light a cigarette on fire and you smoke it, the human body doesn't absorb all of the nicotine that's in that cigarette.
Nowhere near it. That's why they enhance them.
So there's nicotine in that cigarette that people are not, they're exhaling.
Yeah.
And speaking of exhaling and science and stuff, we have a guest for next week.
No.
Yes. We have
day after Thanksgiving.
We're going to do a show the day after Thanksgiving.
That's why I was saying that.
Yes. Dr. Roberto Sussman from Mexico, who is a very well-respected scientist, is going to come on the show because guess what? He vapes.
Yeah.
I met him during this scope thing.
Yeah.
So he did several amazing presentations during scope. He's a university professor, educator as well as a research scientist. But I don't necessarily. I mean, we could just play his presentation if we wanted to talk about hard science. And it's not even. I mean, he does it in a very entertaining and humorous way. Like he cracks jokes during the presentation. It's fun to watch. So I suggest going to the Scope YouTube and watching it. I think there's a Spanish version and an English version. I want to talk about like his tobacco harm reduction journey. That's what we're going to talk about, and we might talk about some science too. But yeah.
I'm ignoring you. Keep going.
No, I'm just reading Pippa's. Anytime I see the word eggplant and nicotine in a comment, I have to read that because I want to make sure that the person that said it doesn't lose any of my respect.
Wait a minute. You respect people? What?
Some people. Because there are still people out there that actually believe that there's a way to extract nicotine from vegetables in high enough volume that they could actually make it commercially available. It's been disproven countless times. It doesn't work. It's not cost effective, and you literally have to destroy every eggplant and tomato on the planet to get enough. So yeah. Anyway, the comment was not about that. So the person that made that comment did not lose any of my respect.
He left.
But anyway, so back to the tax situation. The Build Back Better bill, and we went through the tax language weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Like literally the tax bill on the nicotine that's in my freezer would be like $16,000 or something.
You're making bank.
No, that's how much I would owe.
I know.
We were out. That tax language had been removed, and we were sort of like, on, anticipation, and be very, worried with anticipation that it was going to get put back in, and then ultimately it did get put back in, and the House passed the bill today.
Ta-da.
So,
Proudly
you know,
passed the bill.
yeah, I mean, Nancy Pelosi was just, banging
Drunk
her
as
gavel
usual.
and, you know,
Drooling on the left hand.
heralding how awesome it was and how great this is for her. Not for her, but for their agenda,
Partners.
for their agenda.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
after they passed the bill,
Mm-hmm.
somebody, like, during the press conference, I'm getting an underwear ad. Oh, there it is.
Is that the brand you're looking for?
No, it's the
Crotchless, or what are you looking at?
Jessica Alba's husband
Share
has
with the rest
a
of the
underwear company, and it was the ad on Fox Business.
Close out your Pornhub for you.
It's already closed. I closed it. I already closed it.
Okay, I'm just checking.
So anyway, Nancy Pelosi's office, after they passed the Build Back Better bill with the nicotine. This is not a tobacco tax. This is a nicotine tax.
Mm-hmm.
Our
nicotine tax, not everybody else's nicotine.
Her statement, the office released a statement, and I'm not gonna read the headline. I mean, you can see it on the screen, but I'm gonna read the actual full quote. Yep. So, a spokesperson for House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat from California, defended the Build Back Better package's vape tax on Friday, arguing the practice wasn't an essential need for working families.
No.
The comments came amid media reports that President Biden, in signing the bill, would be reneging on his promise to not raise taxes on low-income Americans.
Right.
So, I've already addressed that. That's not a winning point for us, because their argument there, and I told you what their response was going to be when it was first brought up. This is not an income tax. This is a consumable tax on a product. So they can say that this tax does not count, because it's not a tax on somebody's income. It's a tax on a consumable good, sales tax, whatever you want to call it. So they didn't raise taxes on somebody's income, and that's exactly the response that they've. I mean, I said it months and months ago, and I was right, because logically that's the easiest response that they have to have, or that they can make. So Henry Connolly, a spokesperson for Pelosi's office, told Fox Business, unlike the gas tax hike Republicans tried to add to the infrastructure bill, vaping is not an essential need for working families, and there's significant evidence tobacco companies are targeting health-damaging vape products at teens.
Right. That aren't allowed to buy it.
Health-damaging vape products right there.
Yeah.
Health-damaging. So the bill simply ensures that nicotine in tobacco, traditional tobacco products, and the nicotine in e-cigarettes is taxed at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
The new tax would be $50.33 per 1,180 milligrams of nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same cost of small cigarettes and small cigars per 1,000. So, Kevin,
you got your calculator?
I'm pulling out my telephone so I can do some maths. I can do some maths.
Okay. Amanda. So before you begin, I want everyone in the audience and listening world to understand this is their version of tobacco control math. That's one hashtag. Hashtag tobacco control math. Mm-hmm. And just for good measure, they know. Go ahead.
So I vape 12 milligram.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 1,180 milligrams of nicotine. So if I vape 12 milligram, that's 12 milligrams per milliliter.
Mm-hmm.
So all I have to do is divide that number and that number is 98.3.
Mm-hmm.
So less than 100 milliliters
Mm-hmm.
of my 12 milligram e-liquid, the tax is $50.33.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're talking about per milligram. So if you divide that 1180 by $50.33, that's 23. So that's 23 cents per milligram.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long number, but it's 23 cents per milligram. So yeah, 1180 milligrams of nicotine. So if I did a 120, for example, 120 milliliter
Yep.
of 12 milligram
Mm-hmm.
is more than $50.33 in taxes.
I'm going to ask a
So-
question that I've asked on Twitter. Are you mad yet? Are you mad
I'm
yet?
always mad. I'm always mad, Kevin.
Yeah.
So Pippa says a 60 milliliter bottle of 6 milligram.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 60 milliliters times 6. That's 360 milligrams of
Mhm.
nicotine. Can we
Mhm.
all agree in that? So then you times that times 24 cents. Oh, we got 60 times 6 is 360 times 0.24. That is. Did I do that wrong? I did that wrong. Let's do that again. 360 milligrams of nicotine
Mm-hmm.
times. Oh, that's right. 0.23 is 82.8. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah. You're looking at it's per milligram per milliliter. Right. You're right. 24 cents per milligram per milliliter. It is
Tobacco control math.
Yeah. Not good.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Unless my math is wrong.
Well, regulate, restrict, tax, and ban. That's what they want to do.
And you gotta also demonize and shame.
Stigmatize. Yeah.
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 You gotta throw that in there too.
Rolls off the tongue after a while. So that's the same cost of small cigarettes, which I don't even understand the term, and small cigars per thousand. So no, it doesn't. That's not correct.
What?
Huh? That's what
What?
I said. What? What?
What?
What? Are you new here? I know. I think you're new. So that's the same cost of small cigarettes and small cigars per thousand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the milligrams and milliliters of cigars and cigarettes, so I'll just assume that he's correct, and that's that, right? As a reader, as a taxpayer, you're like, well, fuck them, they're smokers. That's exactly what they want you to do, because up above where you highlighted health damaging vape products.
Yeah.
It's not about
That's how they
smoke.
justify it, though. That's how they're justifying. Like, if the average person reads
Doesn't
that, they're
know.
going to go, well, they're justified in taxing that because it's damaging to people's health.
I think it's a great idea. That's exactly what my mother would read, take, and have an opinion of.
Yes.
She would have called me had she been alive to read this and said, good, I don't like you doing that anyway. And I'd say, okay, Karen, and hang up on her.
I'm redoing my math here. So it is 23 cents per milliliter. Or
Okay.
per milligram. Per milligram.
Yeah, that's where I don't get into this because I'm not a mathematician.
Yes.
You got the
Per
degree,
milligram.
right?
I don't have a degree in math.
Well, yeah, but you know stuff.
Yes. That is the number that is the number I was getting, Pippa. I wasn't saying yes to you. I was saying yes to Pippa. So
But you do know math. Yes.
in circumstantial math.
Okay.
So 12 milligrams times, I'll do 60. I'll do a 60 mil just like Pippa. That's 720 milligrams of nicotine in that bottle. So then you multiply that times 23 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's $165.60.
Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet?
And that's just using the explanation that was included in this thing. And that they're saying it is parody.
Watch. Serena Williams. Wonder Woman. Serena.
Híjole.
Me either.
There's the commercials. So they're saying, because this doesn't tell you what this, they're saying in a pack of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying. Per thousand.
No,
They're
per
going
thousand, not a pack.
Right.
That's per thousand.
Right.
So
that's a carton.
How many cigarettes? So if you smoke, okay, let's do this. So there's 20 cigarettes in a pack.
Yep.
That's
200 cigarettes.
And in a carton.
Yep.
Right.
So 5 cartons.
So a carton, that's 5 cartons of cigarettes. The average person would smoke 5 cartons of cigarettes in 50 days. If they're a 1 pack a day person.
Right. Give or take.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So that
Tobacco
5 cartons
control.
of cigarettes, that 5 cartons of cigarettes would last an average 1 pack a day person, 50 days.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
A bottle of 60 milligram or 60 milliliter, 6 milligram liquid. How long does that take you to vape, Pippa? Because that's $86 in taxes, by the way. So, how is that parity?
Nowhere near it. There is no comparison, really.
There is, no.
It's not compatible.
I know people that could vape that 6 milliliter bottle in 2 or 3 days. I know some people that could vape that in a day.
I'm at about 100.
If they're so she vapes 120 milligram of 120 mils of 3 milligram per week.
Right. Jenny,
so that
you're being snowed. Double plus good.
Where did my bottle go?
I don't know.
So I gotta go get a bottle.
Vaping products are a replacement for smoking. They're not a replacement for tobacco taxes. This is what they're doing.
Okay, so I started vaping this bottle of e-liquid. This is 12 milligram. I'm about halfway.
Yep.
Since Monday.
Okay.
That's how much I vaped since Monday. This is the only thing I've vaped all week. So this is a 30 mil bottle. And I've maybe vaped since Monday. Today's Friday, 5 days. Maybe 5 mils a day.
Right. Yeah, I'm 3, 4, 5. Depends on my mood, I guess. But.
So, I could still. There's just no way you can compare this.
It's
5 cartons of cigarettes. 5 cartons of cigarettes to a 60 ml bottle of e-liquid.
Now, let me ask you a question. The way this reads, the last sentence that you have on the screen, the new tax would be $50.33 per the nicotine. Then it says that's the same cost of small cigarettes and small cigars per thousand. Is that the same cost currently, or is that going to also be included with? Because they're not raising those, are they?
Yes, they are.
Oh, they are. Cigarettes and cigars. Okay,
but it's infinitesimal increase.
And it'll never go away.
The cigarette tax. The national cigarette tax.
Yeah.
Is minuscule. If you start counting all of the different fees and stuff that's added to a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
The smallest tax is
Mhm.
the federal tax. The state tax and the locals, the counties, depending on where you are, those are substantially higher.
They like to grab.
Substantially higher.
Yeah.
So, if this doesn't piss you off, which it should, this statement here that the practice, that's actually the fact that you are vaping to not die
Voluntarily.
is not essential.
Nope. Because you don't matter.
Let
me repeat
the fact
that.
Your choice to choose a less harmful alternative to smoking, which
Are you
I think
fuckers paying attention? Aren't you pissed off yet?
we would all agree. Most of us have made the comment on Twitter, made the comment in here. If they take my flavors away, I'm going to go back to smoking. Nancy Pelosi says, go back to smoking because what you're doing is not essential. The fact that you've chosen to not die is not essential.
You are dismissed. Good day. I said good day. I can't believe you're not pissed yet. We done told you so. We done told you and fucking
y'all
told
been
you.
warned.
And you told me and I told you and we all agreed and
we've been telling you that they're gonna fuck you if you let them.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh no,
For
you're going to enjoy
on this show. Like, I could literally go back to tape and play recordings of us predicting how the FDA is going to MDO every fucking open vapor PMTA using a keyword search and finding one error and doing a massive rejections based on that criteria. I said it on this show. People told me that I was being crazy.
Oh, I know.
Guess what they did, Kevin?
Not you, Leona.
Guess what they did? They MDO'd every open vapor PMTA for the same criteria that they could do on a keyword search. They did it.
If it passes.
We called it. We predicted it. We told you that it was going to happen. Y'all called us crazy.
Well, you did. I said
we told you.
By going, damn it, no.
We told you about this vape tax. We showed you a chart. Showed you how expensive this was going to be.
As
and
consumers,
it's come to fruition. I didn't even create that chart. Actually, I stole that from Kasa. So technically, Kasa told me, and then I told you.
Yeah.
So I can't claim responsibility for that one. I did a podcast show in 2014 called Blueprint for Destruction. If you can find the Vaping Militia Radio podcasts, look for that one, Blueprint for Destruction. I went through a 20-point plan on how to destroy the vaping industry. Right. And y'all fuckers fell for it and did everything that I told you not to do. I even put cartoon labels on your shit. Be irresponsible and don't defend your business. Y'all did it. If I had known y'all were going to do that, I would not have given you a point-by-point plan on how to do it. Oh, Kevin.
And Leona, I wasn't. I want to make sure Leona knows I wasn't directing at her, which I'm assuming she knows that I know. But yeah,
you know that I know that we know.
We know. Yeah, it's not.
Was H in here a while ago? Did I see H?
Yes.
I thought I swore I saw H.
Yes, you did. It's everybody that's listening.
And by the way, Dimitri was on our show, our last Scope show.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, there's no fucking way that they can go after synthetic nicotine.
And Phil? Yeah.
Yes. You remember he said that? You remember he said that? And I said,
They're
following
gonna.
following the verbiage of the Tobacco Control Act and following
Right.
the verbiage of the deeming regulation, you are correct. They can't. But guess what, Kevin?
I know.
They're looking
going
for
to.
solutions to figure out ways so that they can regulate synthetic nicotine.
I think it's probably the only thing they didn't really self-predict.
Well, here's the thing, though, Kevin.
And they probably did, but they didn't.
I was reading an article. And I did not. Give me a second here. I did not put it in the show notes. Give me 1 second.
Okay. That's fine.
Synthetic nicotine. I was reading an article where they were talking about some goofball politician who wanted to regulate, who was demanding that the FDA do something about synthetic nicotine.
Yeah.
And I got to close this tab. I'm getting commercials in my head. Anyway, where's it? It's not the Puff Bar one, but there's a piece about Puff Bar though. But what's really funny is that the article that I think this is the right one. Is this? It wasn't. No, it wasn't Alex Norcia. Maybe it is. Anyway, there's specifically a quote from the FDA in this article where they say, we think that we can regulate components or parts of anything that's to be intended to be used in a vaping device. So we actually think that we can regulate synthetic nicotine already. I'm trying to find that actual quote.
And that'll go into the courtroom and back out because they are already talking it.
But here the dealio is that the day after the release of the deeming regs, when the FDA, and I think I played a portion of that teleconference. It's on YouTube. Mitt Zeller said we fully expect to regulate synthetic nicotine.
Yeah, I know.
If
I remember something about it.
If they intend to regulate zero nicotine e-liquid because it can be used in a vaporizer, they're encompassing CBD and other vapable liquids from the PACT Act. They're going to attempt to regulate synthetic nicotine, whether it says in the black and white of the deeming or the Tobacco Control Act,
right?
They're going to attempt it.
Anything and everything.
Yeah. So no, I can't find it. I'm like, but that, I mean, the verbiage in that news article, and it was a quote from FDA. We think that if we are regulating components and parts, and of anything that is intended to be used with a vaporizer, we think we can get synthetic nicotine with that too.
Yeah,
it's all about intended use, which is something that has been sort of put by the wayside. We have not heard anybody mention intended use in a while.
Yeah,
but in the beginning, they were mentioning intended use all the fucking time.
Completely, yeah.
If it's reasonably expected to be intended to be used in a blah, 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 then we're going to regulate that. So I think that
software for, everything.
Yeah. Updates, drip tips,
because I jokingly said, is my blog, because it's an electronic thing and I talk about it, is that now a tobacco product? Yeah. Is this show a tobacco product? It's electronic. Yeah.
Shit.
Idiotic as it sounds.
We're just two chuckleheads. We don't follow. I am not a tobacco product, Kevin. There's enough nicotine in me though that I could be.
If we cremated you, we could get at least 4 milligram, right?
It's in my pores, man.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, this was a pretty decent article, talking about the Build Back Better, nicotine tax plan. Yeah. So anyway, it says taxing regular, and here's a really cool feature. You can click this button and it'll read the article to you, but I'm not going to. Taxing regular cigarettes and reduced risk products such as e-cigarettes at the same rate serves neither public health nor government's bottom line. No, because guess what, Kevin? Black market. There's no taxing on a black market.
Because it doesn't matter.
In a move expected to generate an estimated $96 billion in funding for the president's Build Back Better agenda, lawmakers are considering a tax on nicotine that would increase the cost of reduced risk tobacco products such as e-cigarettes and vaping liquids. This is not a particularly novel idea, and it is also not a particularly good one. The primary goals of taxing nicotine products are to generate large amounts of revenue and reduce nicotine consumption. But pursuing these two objectives simultaneously puts them inherently at odds with each other. Consumers must purchase nicotine products to generate the desired tax revenue, and by making such products more expensive, the taxes increase the likelihood that consumption will decrease. Ultimately, neither public health nor states' coffers benefit. No, because this is a federal thing, so it wouldn't even go to the fucking state. Of course, it is important to acknowledge that federal tobacco taxes, have existed for centuries, and modern tobacco taxation has reduced consumption and yielded a net positive effect on America's public health. However, Kevin, we're at the point of diminishing returns on that.
Yeah,
people have not. Smoking has not declined substantially. Because people have absorbed.
No.
And it's not big enough to make a big deal, right?
Prove me wrong. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to stay at the same. We're going to stay at the same percentage. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So what's funny though, is we've already addressed this. We've already addressed this on the show, Kevin.
And it's funny because 10 years ago, I thought, I'll pay that friggin' tax. I don't care. I'm going to keep smoking. That's exactly the way I thought.
If I peruse the recordings,
didn't matter.
I just posted.
Yeah.
There's that. One of these.
Mm-hmm.
One of these Dr. Gardner shows says that tobacco control tactics work up to a certain point, and then they stop working.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is, right here. Damn, I knew it was. I had hovered at the right place. So here, let's just make this bigger.
Fine.
And we'll play this because we already called it. I'm glad they have subtitles.
So these are new vocabulary words for a lot of people.
Yes.
So neurotypical is someone who suffers from no mental health issues whatsoever. I
actually don't know anybody that doesn't suffer from some sort of mental health problems.
Neurodiversity is a relatively new term that's kind of politically correct for just the whole spectrum of different things. And it's people who are suffering from anxiety, people who have chronic depression.
That's not the right one. It was the one before this one. Beep, beep. It's definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. Maybe it's this one. I'm waiting for the subtitles. Yeah, that's the one. I could read his lips. Read my lips. No new taxes. This is the right one, Kevin.
Okay.
Tobacco control tactics actually do work, especially in countries that can enforce them. And that has tended to be high-income countries. And in high-income countries, we've been able to get the smoking rates down dramatically since the 1940s, say. Now, especially after the 1960s, the smoking rates came down, down, down. A lot of that was because we ramped up the taxes, so we made cigarettes less affordable. And we implemented bans, indoor bans, bans in bars, bans in restaurants. So we basically taxed and banned, but we also increased stigma, which is completely unethical.
Shame and demonize.
Damn, it's like we're like breaking records here, dude. We say the same things over and over again. But yes, we're at the point where there's diminishing returns. People, the people that are going to smoke, the people that are going to do that are going to do that regardless. I mean, they'll choose to pay for their cigarettes before they'll pay for their rent. And
food, yeah.
And food,
but Patrick, this is my amateur elementary brain thinking. You've got smokers, you've got taxes. Here's what should happen. In a perfect world in tobacco control, allegedly, they're trying to stomp out smoking, which I don't partake. So you got smokers and you got taxes. And then you raise the taxes and the smoking should go down. And then you raise it some more and the smoking should go down. And the death and the whatever the hell should go down is what they say. But the numbers of smokers are leveling or increasing every year. And the WHO's numbers are increasing every year. Charles did a thread on that a while back. So where is it's working? No, they're collecting money to keep themselves in jobs.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to. They don't want to win. Not too
They're
quickly.
failing at their job. That's correct. Their job should be that they should go out of business. And Ash has been 40 years they've been around.
Mm-hmm.
40 years? Really? You guys suck at your job. So if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, you get reprimanded, written up, fired, whatever. Patrick, you'd get written up. Eventually you'd be fired, I assume. So 40 years of nonprofit political front grouping is a very profitable nonprofit business.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. As long as you can get everybody else to do what you tell them to do.
Yeah.
Read your emails, follow the instruction. That's it.
There are companies that produce vape products that got their MDOs, Kevin.
Yes.
And then they filed lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have been more successful, have been successful at getting temporary stays.
Yep.
But this week, the Sixth Circuit Court refused a stay for the FDA's denial of vaping products for Breeze Smoke's application.
Mm-hmm.
So it says here, last Friday, a divided panel in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit rejected Breeze Smoke's LLC's application of a stay of the FDA's order denying the company's pre-market tobacco products for some of the vaping products, also referred to as electronic nicotine delivery systems. In Breeze Smoke LLC versus FDA, the Sixth Court rejected the Fifth Circuit's conclusion that the FDA had orchestrated a surprise switcheroo. So the Fifth Court, because this is the Sixth Court, so the Fifth Circuit Court granted temporary stays using this surprise switcheroo argument.
Mm-hmm.
So this court is actually saying no.
Right.
So we're going to deny this guy's thing that says exactly the same thing that the guy that won in the Fifth Circuit, got their temporary stay for. This creates an interesting circuit split that might attract the Supreme Court's interest. I doubt it. The Sixth Circuit Court, on behalf of Judges Moore and Gilman, concluded that the FDA had never committed itself to accepting PMTA applications for flavored vaping products that lacked long-term studies. Rather, the FDA merely indicated it might accept evidence other than long-term studies if that evidence had sufficient scientific underpinnings to meet the TCA, the Tobacco Control Act's statutory mandate of demonstrating that flavored end products are appropriate for the protection of public health. Thus, the court concluded that Breeze Smoke had failed to demonstrate the strong likelihood of success on the merits necessary to support a stay. So they're saying, we're not going to grant you a stay because there's no guarantee that anything that you would provide is going to be sufficient to make the FDA believe that your product is sufficient for the protection of public health.
Yeah.
So we're including in our denial of your MDO. We're not going to give you a stay because we don't think that you could prove that you would ultimately be successful.
Right. Yeah.
So we're not going to give you an MDO, or we're not going to give you a stay of your MDO. So that's a criteria for winning these stays, though, is being able to show that given sufficient time, you would be successful, or you might be successful.
Right.
If the court doesn't think that you're going to be successful, then we're not going to let you keep selling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that I brought this up specifically because I don't want anybody to be unrealistically believing that these court dates are in the long term, that any of these stays are gonna actually be there.
Yeah, they're gonna matter or not.
The temporary ones specifically were mentioned in some of them. This stay is only temporary until we decide whether or not we think that you would be successful in winning over the FDA.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm glad that some people are still able to sell e-liquid, and as far as I know, everybody that got an MDO is still selling, and they're getting warning letters. Right. I saw a couple companies say that they got a warning letter for selling e-liquid online or whatever. But obviously, you have 14 days to respond to those warning letters, and all you have to do is say, "Well, we won't do it again." I mean,
yeah, but
yeah, we won't do it again.
Unbelievable.
I was worried there because I titled tonight's show "Pants Down."
Right.
And when I went up to get that bottle of e-liquid so I could hold it in front of the camera to show how much I'd vaped this week, I didn't want anybody to see that I did have my pants down. The principal wanted to check me, Kevin.
I feel like anybody that vapes, that's including underage vapors, are all in the principal's office.
Well.
Or out in the hallway where everybody else can see.
Actually, I think we're all getting felt up, and we're going to get reach arounds.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're not going to get reach arounds when we get fucked, because that's what's going to. I mean, that's what they're prepping is. Are we going to ask for lube or not? Because that's.
Yep.
Ultimately, between
you're not
all
going
of
to succeed.
The tax talk now. I mean, this is going into the Senate, and. Luckily, we have so every Democrat has to vote yes on this.
Yeah.
So the Joe Manchin from West Virginia is yet again the most powerful man in DC right now because everybody is kissing his ass. He's a Democrat, but he more often than not votes with the Republicans. And I can't remember the Arizona senator. What is her name?
No clue.
She's also a target for us because Cinema.
Yeah.
She is also kind of known for voting with Republicans. So between those two,
There's a slight
if we can win one of them over on any one piece of this bill,
yeah,
Manchin he's sort of a thrifty fella, and you start talking about increasing the federal deficit by another $600 billion, his voters are going to be like, what?
So
and he's going to be like, what?
So let me do an observation. Tell me what I'm wrong about or right about.
Everything.
Well, I'm never right, but so when I started playing around, and then I started realizing 2014 it's a formaldehyde and it's dangers and it's whatever, but we don't know enough. And then it's deeming, and it's infighting, and it's chaos, if you will, for quite a while, 2017, 18. And then now we've come down to the nitty gritty, and there's less bullshit about studies other than the ones that will repeat, or ones like the heart one that got taken away before it was even out. So I don't know if they wrote anything. How can they write something that they had nothing to show with, but that they do it anyway? So they're tagging stuff. And now we're at the nitty gritty of taxes and bans. So we're not even now at the point of, oh shit, there's another study we got to worry about. I'm sure they'll pop up, but it seems in the past 6 months or so, this is more about regulation, restriction, taxing, and banning.
Well, see, this always makes no sense to me, Kevin.
Okay.
So they're writing a bill,
yeah,
to tax something that they're quite positive is ultimately going to be banned.
Right.
So
are they going to get $96 billion out of that, or whatever the number was? Right.
Well, unless they're own, the Office of Budget and those people, they already put out their cost analysis of this bill, and they said it was going to add $600 billion to the national deficit over a 10-year period. They already said that. I don't know if they're taking into account that essentially the big chunk of this money that they're expecting to be generated by a vape tax is not going to happen.
Right.
Obviously, if they're using actual usage trends,
mm-hmm.
how much e-liquid, an average person goes through. If you take my 5 mils and some of these people that I know that are cloud chasers that go through 100 mils a day or 120 mils a day,
and
they take an average of that, I don't know, and then figure out what that is. They're not making any fucking money off of it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, I think ultimately they can't be talking about ban. You got Raja Kutra-Murthy and his cohort of people pushing for the FDA to ban these products,
right?
And they're voting on legislation to tax those products that they're pushing the regulators to ban. They're
talking out of their own asses.
What's my window say? What's that
exactly
thing behind Kevin say? This is a clusterfuck. Speaking of which, clusterfuck vape bans are on sale at www.vapebans.com.
Damn right. Limited edition, glow
in the dark.
In the dark.
Rod says hello, by the way.
How can they tax what they don't have on the market? They're still talking out of their ass.
This is just again, we're closing in on midterms. Some of these representatives and some of these senators are going to be up for re-election.
I see Ron Johnson is, right?
And they're going to be like, look at what we did for your kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at what we did for your kids. The vaping rate is lower now than it ever has been. And that's our thing. We did that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
We did that.
Yeah. Double
Don't
plus
read what
good.
don't believe anything you read on Twitter, even if it has a link to a scientific study. Don't believe that at all. I'm telling you, we're responsible. That's what the politicians are going to say. We're responsible for the youth vaping numbers being the lowest that they've ever been, the youth smoking numbers being the lowest they've ever been. Oh, don't look at San Francisco.
No,
that's an anomaly.
Massachusetts.
That's anecdotal. That's anecdotal. Don't look at that.
Yeah.
Nope. It'll all average out.
Don't listen to Will.
Smoking went up there, but it went down over here.
Don't listen to Will. Don't listen to Kevin. Don't listen to Leanna. Don't listen to Sarah. Don't listen to Rog, Janine, or Pippa, or anybody else.
Are you just going to keep saying shit again? Are you just going to keep saying random stuff again? You made a point. You don't need to continue. So Pippa says, when does this BS tax start? Well, it doesn't yet because it's got to be voted on in the Senate, and then the president has to sign it into law. So there is no date yet.
All right.
But the Senate will be picking this up this coming week. So if it passes in the Senate, then it goes straight to the president. He can sign it in a day. And then I don't know exactly when it'll start.
Yeah.
But yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for you to start
Yo, we want more names.
Repeating yourself again.
Nobody knows what they're talking about, even with scientists.
I gave you a pregnant pause there so that you could continue to say the same shit over and over again, Kevin.
Can't.
Oh my gosh. Did we? I think we hit everything that was in the.
I think we did.
Every article that you sent or that I sent, we actually hit.
Yeah.
So yeah. See, the problem is, Hamish says nicotine-free liquid. FDA, there's not going to be any nicotine-free liquid because FDA is going to regulate nicotine-free liquid. They already said they're going to.
Yeah.
So you can't even do Nick shots.
Nope.
Because flavored e-liquid is going to be gone because FDA is not going to allow any of them on the market because it's a component or part.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of senators that, trying to engage with them is a waste of fucking time because we've been trying for 10 years to engage with them and they've not fucking moved an inch. But we definitely could, all of us, hit one West Virginia Democrat that has shown some sense and basically has participated in intelligent legislation, even though he's a Democrat. I don't want to do that, Kevin. But yes, I mean, I was born in West Virginia, so I guess I could just pull the I'm a hillbilly card and hit him on Twitter and say, hey, you really should look at all of the parts of this Build Back Better and the $600 million or $600 billion added to the deficit. You don't even have to bring up vaping.
Nope.
Just bring up the fact that it's going to add $600 billion to the deficit because he's a penny pincher, and he's always you see him on testifying or speaking, and he's always like, well, I can't vote with my brothers and sisters in the Democratic Party because my voters are going to lose their fucking mind if they figure out that there's going to be a more debt.
Yeah. What? Spend money? What? I do want to share something with Dr. Gardner again. He's a popular guy for me.
It doesn't matter what your argument is, Raj. It really doesn't. I mean, he says, yeah, I heard that as well, but we have arguments that mods, batteries, PG and VG and flavors don't have shit to do with tobacco. You can have all the arguments in the world, but if FDA has the language in the Tobacco Control Act and in the deeming regs that basically gives them carte blanche to deem components and parts. And if they choose to go after zero nic, like they have said they're going to go after CBD that doesn't have any fucking nicotine in it as well.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what your argument is.
Who's next? Exactly.
Because we tried to get the PACT Act, the pot people raised all sorts of fucking hell that they were getting included in the PACT Act. And they're still in there. They're still banned from being shipped. Yeah. So, yeah. Doesn't matter what your argument is.
Idiotic. Idiotic.
Doesn't matter what bakers use it for, though. It's the specific language in the text of the deeming reg, specifically over and over again, is intended use. If they can reasonably expect that you are going to use that ingredient in e-liquid, then they can regulate it. Now, so it all comes down to where you're getting it. If you go to a confectionery website and buy flavoring, or if you go to a soap manufacturing website to order PG and VG, then you might squeak through. But if you go to a company that is known to sell vaping products or accessories or parts, then you're going to get,
And it has been brought up that PG and VG.
You do have to realize that the PG and VG that is used in soap manufacturing is not the same pharmaceutical grade PG and VG that we use in e-liquid.
And it was brought up, I don't know for sure.
Any of the flavorings that are being used in bakeries are not the same flavorings that we use in e-liquids.
Right.
You have to be very careful because some of those are oils. Some of those are not water soluble flavors that we use. So, yeah, I mean, I see that a lot. See that argument a lot. But, yeah, all of the flavorings that are available on those websites that are used for confectionery stuff and baking stuff are not the same ones. And they're safe to eat, but not safe to breathe.
Right. Which I didn't know that either a long time ago. So.
Yes. Now, they're water soluble flavorings and oil soluble. So, it's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. Not the same thing.
Yeah. The point I was making was one of us, Fig, you, me, somebody, a guest, that they would go after PG and VG as well. But if they can narrow it to nicotine, they probably would leave it alone.
Oh, no, the fucking black market is it's already booming. It's already booming. Yeah. And not that I'm promoting that because I wouldn't want anybody to call the FDA and give them my name. Because there is a drop a dime line on the FDA website where you can drop a dime on somebody.
They also want to know if you have any problems with your tobacco product to let them know.
Kevin, are you flashing a flashlight at the camera sometimes for some reason? What are you doing?
I was earlier.
Oh, okay. I just reached over and had my flashlight right here. So,
monkey see, monkey do. I said I'm still looking. What is
my flashlight is more. My Schwartz is bigger than your Schwartz. People are like freaking out now. They're like, "What the hell? That blind?"
Charles on my share screen says,
"Are you using the Victor Altec share screen?"
Yes.
You're not using it enough. Now, see again.
Oh shit! Stop! No,
I can't fucking read that shit, dude. What'd you do?
I hit the hashtag on it. You can't read it?
No, the black background makes it harder to read, man.
See there. How's that? Is that better?
No.
I don't think
I've got it over
there. How's that?
I'm gonna pinch it on my tablet here.
This thing is huge. Nicotine normalizes several.
That's what she said.
Several sensory processing deficits in schizophrenia. Now, as well as improving cognition and disease, this is a new word for me, symptomology. So Abnormal gene expression in schizophrenic non-smokers' brains are brought to control levels in schizophrenic smokers. So partially because of what he did is what the power of Twitter can do. So we're going to scroll down instead of focusing on this beautiful piece. We're going to go down one. Mr. McDonald says the whole book looks interesting. 150 for the PDF version. Come on. Philip, a friend of ours, says we know a guy, don't we? And when you hit show replies, which is buried, watch this. This is what's cool about Twitter and people you know and people you watch and follow. We know a guy with 150 to spare with skills in the art of obtaining $150 PDFs at substantial discount. And Juka says, ta-da! So I'm going to link that in the chat because we don't have to go through it. We saw the scroll. What?
That's not right, man. Those academic people, they got paid huge grants to produce those studies.
You know what? You can kiss my vaping ass.
And you vape out of your ass? That's gross.
You know you're a couple times behind on me telling you to kiss my ass. So that's a Merle Haggard quote. So there's the link that Dr. Gardner was referring to that was found in another way. So kind of neat, nicotine receptors and all that happy stuff that we've talked quite a bit about.
I'm trying to. So Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie quote tweeted me. Where did it go? Here we go.
I don't know.
So one of the things, and Skip's not here.
No.
And I don't think our other friends are here either. But one of the things that Charles Gardner replied to the nicotine and neurodiversity, this is the best 50 minutes that I've spent watching a podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He basically said, I don't have a position where I'm like I'm not the person to be the face of this discussion.
Right.
And you made, you kissed his ass and said something nice. I can't remember what it was now, but yeah, you said something nice. But he made a comment that we should be reaching out to the neurodiversity advocacy groups.
That I do remember, yes.
And which is a smart thing. We should be doing that. We should be trying to be accepted by these people and have them understand what our position is on nicotine and how it helps us. So Chad, ADHD, he actually, he's laying the groundwork for us. He says, do you realize that this is happening to millions of adults living with ADHD? I know you have no policy on smoking or on safer nicotine alternatives, despite studies showing nicotine patches help. And then, obviously he quotes me talking about how the meds filled my head full of like fog.
Yeah. They do, my son.
Yes, they do.
Different issues, but yeah.
All of the psychomeds, all of the
it's insane.
Psychotropics and all those meds do that. I mean,
it itself is insane.
Richard, basically saying, and I said my thing, it's like everything. There's nothing is sharp anymore.
Right.
Like it just feels like everything is like your body is wrapped in cellophane. Like all of your sensation is dulled.
Yeah.
And your energy level is dulled, your mental sharpness is dulled, and just forming complex thought becomes difficult. So I think that all of us, there's people in the chat room that are on the list, that are somewhere on the spectrum, that are whether that's ADHD, whether you're on the autism spectrum, whether you have other diagnoses, we should be doing like a joint letter. I don't think that we need everybody. I joked in the chat room on the the scope thing, I keep referring back to the scope thing. I think what we should be doing is, I jokingly said we need to form a 501c specifically
for neurodiverse
nicotine and safer nicotine and neurodiversity advocates.
Right. Well,
just so that we could approach these other groups as an educational, not a lobbying group, but as an educational group. And the guys that put together. So here's the thing, Kevin. So there's a grant program. It's the same people that put together the Global Forum on Nicotine.
Okay.
So Smoke Free World puts money into that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I think I know.
But they have a grant. They have a grant program.
Yeah.
So
I know where you're going with this.
I mean, if we could get a grant to form an LLC, not an LLC, a 501c,
right,
on nicotine and neurodiversity, because it costs money to file those corporate documents to do the and I don't necessarily think we have to do any fundraising, but you have to show you're a nonprofit.
You have to show a scope of what the
right. You have to have a mission statement. You have to have articles of incorporation. You have to have all that stuff.
Right.
I've done that before.
Oh my goodness.
So, then we would have a voice.
Right.
Because right now we're disparate. There's, obviously there's nicotine. I mean, Leanna says, she's definitely on the list or whatever, but there's plenty of us that have diagnoses that are on meds or that should be on meds or that, have been told to be on meds for problems. Depression. There are many people that are just clinically depressed that are taking Prozac or Effexor or whatever.
Well,
as an organization, we could send one giant letter with 100,000 signatures.
Right. Was this the thread Skip said? I think it was Skip saying we should all talk to our clinicians, doctors, whatever, whoever you're going through.
I don't remember seeing that, but
okay,
yeah,
maybe it was on here last week. Maybe, I don't
know. We talked about when we had Richard on the show, finding an actual clinician, that is willing to support your use of nicotine over pharmaceuticals is impossible.
Right. Well,
in the States, it's impossible. Richard lucked out, like he said on my show. I have a really good, doctor who's willing to let me sort of have some leeway, and he supports my use of nicotine. But most MDs in the United States are still not going to be willing to go out on a limb,
right,
and support use of nicotine over, fucking crystal meth, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I completely agree. Absolutely. What's sad is if you found if my son tells me I'm going to drink 6 Monsters today because it helps me, then I don't like it, but he's an adult. Self-medicating, whatever the choice is. If you want 7 sodas, I don't care. Whatever it is, he likes them damn Monsters. But if it's something that gives him comfort and peace in his head, who am I, even as his parent, to say a 26-year-old, no, you shouldn't do that? Well, all this life I've said freedoms and silliness, and now I'm going to go, no, but we've always done it this way. Don't listen, just stop it.
No.
That's what got him in the predicament that he was in my opinion, partially to blame me.
Yeah. Once you're in a hole,
I couldn't see that.
It's hard to get out of the hole.
Yes, sir. And he struggles, and it's not easy, and it's not funny,
and it's accumulative.
Yeah, and
so
it's anti-fucking
when you go on the meds, if you're already at a deficit, your body those meds have to reach a certain level, a certain threshold in your body before they actually are working.
I'll tell you.
So when you go off your meds, there's a period of time where you're mostly okay, but then you're going back down into the hole. And then when you're in the hole, it takes a long time to climb out of that fucking hole.
I'm going to share something with you, if you don't mind, for everybody. The whatever the drug is, I don't recall offhand. When we went to the pharmacist to get a refill, and the pharmacist didn't have whatever they put on the script is fill as prescribed or something to that effect.
Right.
The doctor forgot to put it on there, and the lady gave him generic. So we went back and said, "Hey, these are generic." Oh no, they didn't put fill as described or whatever the term is. You guys, some of you may know.
There's a box on the prescriptions now specifically for that.
So when that happened, I said, "Okay." So as a parent, when he's 19, I said to him, as any of you probably would, to reassure him, I said, it's the same stuff, Dustin. Don't worry about it. And you know what? About 3 days later, I was like, holy fucking shit. This boy is off his fucking meds. Generic or not, he did not take those well. So it wasn't that those things were bad for him as a generic form. It's that they weren't working for him in the generic form. So he cannot have generic. Yeah. And if he forgets to take it for 3 days, it's the same thing. He goes backwards. And you're right. It's about a 3, 4, 5 days sometimes for that to come back to the right levels. So when you're saying anti-human for just nicotine instead of those things, you being the professional should be listening to your patients at all times in any shape, form that they say is better for them. If it's pot, if it's whatever, I don't care what it is. If you want to eat dandelions and it makes you feel better, do so. That's how fucking crazy my experience with him was with that. So scary.
And, you know,
scary.
Being a clinician and being somebody that actually deals with this themselves is different. You know, I have this is what, you know, I get therapists that are fresh grads that have never dealt with people with mental illness.
Humans.
Who don't understand how to approach, because they don't teach them. This is something you learn through experience. You know, if you've got a you know, a kid that's got behavioral tics, you have to approach them in a very cautious manner. You don't get into their space. You know, I had a therapist that got headbutted because he got too close, and he was not welcome in the personal space. He's, you know, new guy. You have to get into the circle of trust. Not to steal a line from De Niro, but you have to get into the circle of trust. And you don't just you don't barge into the circle of trust. You have to be accepted into the circle of trust. And like, he freaked out when he got headbutted and broke his nose. Not the patient. The patient headbutted the therapist. The therapist broke his nose on the patient's head. And he was like, you know, he headbutted me. And I'm like, because he's got a behavioral tic, and you got into his space and you caused his you know, a lot of the self-stimming that those kids do, you know, the body rocking, or what Skip mentioned about the slapping that she did when she was a kid. That is a known behavior for kids with autism. And, you know, you got to know how to deal with that. So, you know, it knowing and being able to cope with those things, but I think, like I said, I jokingly mentioned that, we could get more attention as an official 501, and I wouldn't want to be the one. I would be a member, but I would not be.
Smarter people than you and I, right?
Well, no, I mean, it has to be us, though. It has to be. We can't. Charles can't do it.
Right. Well,
Charles, not us.
Right. Exactly.
But, some of the people that are
the beautiful, wonderful people in the room, and
more organized yet fit the criteria.
Yeah.
So
if you have this problem, then you can probably take this and run with it.
I'm more than happy to sit down and write a letter. I can do that.
Well,
but
I explained to a friend of mine about our show with Skip and Richard. And he was at one time a smoker. He used the medications and it didn't work. And he did quit cold turkey eventually, but it was before I started vaping. It was years before. And him and I were talking generally about the show. And I hope he watched it because he said he would, that although I've never been diagnosed with anything, I recognized myself in what Richard was saying more than Skip, but in both. And I'm like, well, damn. Holy crap, right? So it is important. That show in particular is probably, in my opinion, the best show we've ever done, ever.
And that wasn't even on that technically wasn't even on our network, Kevin. I had to steal it and put it on our network.
And it wasn't us that did anything. We were just the pass through.
Well,
they did it.
I mean, we made the space safe for that. I mean, obviously I'm not neurotypical. But my I am very well controlled.
Yeah.
I've had years of work to be as controlled as I am.
Right.
And, I've done a lot of study on this, and I know what sets me off and what doesn't set me off. And I make sure that I'm not in those situations. And, there are times I used to work in a facility where I was on a daily basis going off.
Right.
And that's when I got diagnosed with the bipolar. I was swinging huge mood changes.
Right.
And sometimes it would be little minor things.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you go to the doctor and he's like, you're already diagnosed with ADHD and OCD.
Right.
And, let's talk about this. And, he's like, you're bipolar.
Was he cautious in telling you that though?
Well, no, because he already knew that I had already been diagnosed with something else. I mean, if I had gone in cold to that conversation and he had hit me with 3 diagnoses all at the same time, that would have been a lot.
Right.
But to already know that my brain doesn't work the same way as everyone else's, and for them just to tell, oh, well, there's one more thing.
Right.
You've been living with this already, so let's just throw something else on top. It's okay,
Well,
but
the word safe space is important to me because those humans that we love and adore, whether they know it or not, I think they do, had the ability and the bravery and the heart to talk about it, where 30 years ago our parents probably wouldn't.
Well, no, and that Skip psyched herself up for weeks.
Oh yeah, of course.
For that,
she
didn't
psyched
herself up for weeks.
She was nervous,
before it happened, and then obviously her conversations with Charles, and we have a secret neurodiversity group that we talk in. Those conversations, I think, made her feel more comfortable talking about this topic. I mean, you do realize, and Raj and Janine are talking about like vacation in YouTube over here.
That's all right. We're having a conversation.
They're not even paying attention to us anymore. But
we love them anyway.
I don't know.
I love them. I barely like you.
But the fact that you do realize that she came out to us, and I'm saying us in the broader sense of like the viewers,
our world,
on this channel, the viewers on the Scope channel. She admitted in that show that she hasn't told her husband.
Yeah. And I love her dearly for that.
She hasn't told her own family. But she told us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Leanna and Tom nobody's been talking in the YouTube room, so they weren't telling anybody that they were still there. But Janine and Raj have been jibber jabbering away over in YouTube about going to some hotel in Vancouver and having intestinal issues.
Yeah,
Raj's wife has intestinal issues.
So while I have the opportunity, I appreciate what you do, Patrick, and I appreciate you letting me along for the ride to watch. I think
that I mean, really, if you think about it, Kevin, if you look at the content that we created for that week.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Conceptually, you and I did the Harm Reduction 101 show, just the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
What is harm reduction? That was pretty good. Then day 2 was the neurodiversity and safer nicotine, which was something that I think is very important because it helps me. It affects me.
Yep.
I know that even though you have not been diagnosed with anything, you still have 2 very important people in your life that do benefit from nicotine because of their neurodiversity issues. And, just the idea that we could bring in Skip and Richard,
2 amazing people,
and being that you have 2 people in your life that you love that have these problems, they're living with neurodiversity, made us the best 2 people to start that conversation with Richard and Skip.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were able to bridge that, and I'm very proud of that show. But also the next night when we had Jeffrey and Ignacio on from Latin America, I loved that show too.
Yep.
Especially when Ignacio started going off about Bloomberg and H, who I love him to death. He may or may not be listening. H makes the comment.
No.
H makes the comment that Bloomberg's doing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Ignacio is like, he is not doing it the same everywhere. He comes to our countries and us poor, stupid brown people. And I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
He treats us like monkeys, like we should never have come out of the trees. And I'm just like, oh, I need to soundbite that one. Actually, that was awesome.
Well, I have a silly question.
And then the next night with Dimitri and Phil, we had fun with that too.
Yeah, we closed out good. Well, my question to you, or to everyone that's listening, if they're still, where are the professionals? We're chuckleheads. Where are the professionals doing this? And I'm not talking about Sally Jesse Raphael because I'm old. I'm not talking about Phil Donahue because I'm old. I'm not talking about Oprah and her stupid O. And I'm not talking about those idiots and The View and all that other bullshit and every TV doctor in the world that thinks they're an expert. I'm talking about real experts like Dr. Gardner. I'm talking about Mr. Newhouse, Dr. Newhouse. I'm talking about Brad Rodew. Those people are. Where are the rest of them? Where are these people that know everything, that want to help people? How come I've never heard of half of the things I heard last week ever until last week? Why is that?
What are you talking about?
Because it's stigmatized.
What are you talking about?
Huh? What? Any
What are you talking about?
any of the neurodiversity stuff. Any of it.
Because
It's don't talk
well,
about
I mean, obviously, Newhouse's research is into a very specific area. Like he's
Right.
specifically focusing on memory
right.
and neurodiversity, not neurodiversity, and nicotine, which is, obviously the memory part is neurodiversity.
Right.
Charles brought it up months and months and months and months ago on Twitter.
Yeah.
But really, it's not become. See, this is the thing. If we were to get enough attention,
Right.
we are neurodiverse and nicotine helps us.
Right.
And sent the letter telling our stories. One letter signed by every neurodiverse vapor that we could find.
Mm-hmm.
Send it to all of the 50 or so neurodiversity advocacy groups.
Right.
Appealing to them to make a statement about neurodiversity and nicotine to counter the depression stick BS.
Mm-hmm. Which is, bad.
I mean, that's our that is our thing. Is you have stigmatized us that are already suffering with your BS lies.
Right.
We were depressed before we started using nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get their attention, because then you would get the neurodiversity experts talking about nicotine. There's plenty of studies that show that nicotine is beneficial for schizophrenic patients. We just showed you one.
Yes.
We already know that. We already know that it's beneficial for people with Parkinson's disease. We already know that it's a good neuroprotectant for lots of other neurological concerns. But nobody's ever attacked it in this way. Nobody's ever said, hey, we need safer nicotine alternatives because we use these products to keep us off of the pharmaceuticals that have awful, awful, awful side effects that affect the way, our ability to live life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm mild compared to many. The bipolar thing is pretty serious. Like wicked bad mood swings, and sometimes uncontrolled. But compared to paranoid schizophrenic, compared to suicidal ideation,
Mm-hmm.
that we had 2 people on our show talking about having suicidal ideations.
Right.
Because I've never wanted to kill myself. I have wanted to kill other people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very close to killing other people. We need to approach this as you are standing by and allowing these so-called public health people to other us, to stigmatize us, to make us feel guilty for finding ways to treat our problems so that we don't have to use the mind-altering chemicals that they would have us use.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I took the ADHD meds, I'd be fucking wired and crazy. I'd be, like Richard said, that I had heart palpitations when I was on the Ritalin and all the other medicines. So, yeah. It is basically crystal meth.
Is it that those groups, ADHD / I don't know them all, are in their own bubbles like we are in our bubbles, and we don't know that they are talking about this stuff? Maybe.
No, because I've been following that. They haven't.
Okay.
If you look on a lot of their websites, there's a section that may be specific. There might be a 2-paragraph thing talking about nicotine use.
Okay.
but it's usually engaged with smoking.
Right. And Janine, we are all pissed about that. Extremely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And Skip
But
said it. If you're gonna have someone say depression stick, and then the child does something drastic because that nicotine was helping them, and then something happens sadly, and it probably could because I got to get rid of this because they're mad at me and I don't want to make them mad, and then they do something. Who's at fault? Who's responsible for that? And that's, I think, what Skip's point hit me hardest. Is my son could have been told, well, don't smoke or vape, and then he could have done something drastic. So, man, ooh.
No, but I mean, when Charlie was on the show, like he called their shot for them.
Yeah.
He said it's going to get to the point where they start pointing out the fact that there are people that suffer from mental illness that use nicotine, and they're going to start saying that the nicotine causes mental illness. And that's what they did. Literally like 6, 8, 10 weeks after he was on the show. That's when Depression Stick came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is sad to me.
And you can't do a freedom
No,
of
because they're not government agencies, dude.
Yeah, nonprofits can't do. You don't do that, right? Fuckheads.
So yeah, I mean, I'm begging everyone to either go to my YouTube and to share out short videos. You don't have to share out the big videos. Share out some of these short videos. Watch them and find the ones that move you.
Yep.
And share them.
Yep.
And obviously subscribe to the damn page, please. Thank you very
much. Someone you love might watch it, and someone you love might go, "Oh, wow, okay." Yeah.
I mean,
deep show.
We're just a bunch of chuckleheads that vape. That try to help explain why people vape.
Yeah.
Tom's been spilling his guts in the chat room here for a while, and I haven't had a chance to. But he mentions Allison, who passed away 8 years ago. He says, since losing Allison 8 years ago, I've been on nortriptyline, which is an antidepressant for depression. Don't care who knows, just happy to get help. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously he's still taking a pharmaceutical, but if nicotine is helping him cope, and people, don't care.
Exactly.
Which is the sad thing, is that we would have the human rights argument if we could get some of these neurodiversity groups on board.
Right.
And say, look, we have the science that shows that nicotine is beneficial to people that suffer from neurodiversity issues, or that, I don't even like to use the word suffer, who are living with neurodiversity issues.
Yeah.
Because most of these people, if they're managed properly, are not suffering.
Yeah.
But we need to figure out the best way to engage with those people to get them to because you figure they've been brainwashed by the pharmaceutical companies just as much as the government has, right? And
yes,
knowing that that we're here and we're living with this and we're dealing with this pretty well. I mean, if you consider the 6 or 8 pills that I would supposedly be taking compared to the handfuls that Richard would have to be taking, with what I know Skip would have to be taken,
yep,
with what I know what her diagnoses are, the pharmaceutical companies would not be happy to know that people are using nicotine instead of taking their meds.
No. Because
And
you
it
can't
would
do
be,
that.
it would be mind altering, eye opening to some of these advocacy groups if they thought that somebody could put a 46 milligram nicotine patch on
Right?
instead of taking.
Fuck, man.
We would have higher strength nicotine patches in the States.
It's crazy.
I mean, I can order.
Yeah.
I can order those online.
And he said, for anybody thinking of it, you can't put two half patches to complete that. It's one time, one shot.
No, they're designed specifically to release a certain amount.
Yeah.
And in a 24 or in a 12 hour, I think is what they are. So the concentrations are different is what I'm basically saying.
Right.
So the only way to get the policymakers is to get other people involved.
Mm-hmm.
And getting more vapors involved is not necessarily a solution. Showing these other groups that have some sort of voice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we've already gotten Ethan Nadelman now, Drug Policy Alliance. We've gotten drug reform people involved. That's good. That's one powerful organization that we can have with us. But getting these other people involved, these neurodiversity groups involved, would get us more of the human rights aspect.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
They'd probably tax the poop out of the nicotine patches.
Yeah, they probably would.
They probably would.
What's the matter with these zippy?
My foot and legs appear to sleep.
I love my kids. No matter
Sometimes.
what I've said about them. Yeah, no matter what I say about them.
Especially the one you keep trying to kick out of the house that won't leave.
Oh my God, I can't stand him. They gotta go. Fig.
Hey,
Fig. Holy crap. So
I haven't seen Fig in a while.
Something I've said
Fig.
in it. Fig's hair. So
hey, not only so Cherry Lai was here, hadn't been here in a while, and now Fig shows up.
I know. Like the full moon. Something I said in a blog a while back was that I found this product and I was like, woohoo! I'm going to change the world. I started the survey and all that stuff. And I thought, I'm going to change the world. And it turns out the world has changed me. This world, our world. So that was the end of my grateful comment.
Did you change the world?
You chucklehead. No, it's changed me. Fig.
Oh, well. Fig's here, damn.
Figuroni. I'll be darned.
I know, right? I'm sleepy too.
There might be people in the room that don't even know Fig.
There's been, it's been a while since Fig's been around. Yeah.
And his fabulous hair.
You
are not enamored.
He says he's enamored with your hair.
He's so full of shit.
Oh, well.
What did he say? The wife's out?
The wife's out with friends. So
okay, all right.
He lowered himself to come hang out with us in the chat room for a minute.
He showed up.
He showed up after we've been on for 3 hours.
He's on the loose. 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, where he's at, it's
Oh yeah.
It's not as late. It's only like 10 o'clock or whatever where he's at.
The sun's still probably up over there.
Oh, damn California.
Ugh.
Hey Kevin,
So,
hey
what?
Fig, did you know that Nancy Pelosi said that that people quitting smoking is not necessary?
It's true.
That's what she said. That's not necessary. Know. He's from California, so
you don't matter. You don't matter, and you don't matter.
Your representative just said, "Shit on you." Speaker of the House, fuck you.
You showing it again?
No. I gotta go. I have to go find it. I've already closed that window, Kevin.
I've decided, Fig, that flavored ice cream other than chocolate, and that's only for Chris, and vanilla for everybody else.
Here it
All
is.
flavors shall be taxed at the highest rate it can be, and all the frappuccino and cappuccino and all that other bullshit can all be taxed now. Ice cream for
Yeah.
her, though.
Yeah. Here, where's the quote here?
I've got Cove.
That
Cove
practice-
is easy to install. The intuitive touchscreen guides you.
That practice what isn't an essential need for working families.
That's right.
So if you've chosen, because I know, you know, Fig, I'm not breaking any secrets of Fig, but you know, he's talked about, you know, suffering from PTSD,
right,
and how nicotine helped him.
Yep.
The fact that nicotine is helping you, that's not essential.
Nope.
It's not essential.
You don't need it.
Whether, you know, it helps me for my ADHD and my OCD and my bipolar disorder, that's not essential.
Are you mad yet, bro?
Whether you don't have any of those issues, whether you've just chosen to not smoke cigarettes,
yep,
and you use vaping to not smoke, that's not essential. Cigarettes are safe.
And if you find that it is essential and beneficial to you, that's too bad.
Oh, and you know, when Fig was in business, Fig closed his vape business down, I think. Yep. His vape shop is closed, and when he was selling, yes, well, we didn't talk specifically about that, no. But you know, when California instituted a tax on vapor products, mm-hmm. Fig was one of those businesses that absorbed that tax.
Mm-hmm.
Now we talked about the new proposed Build Back Better vape tax at 23 cents per milligram of nicotine per milliliter. That is a 60 ml bottle of 60 ml bottle of 6 milligram was $86 in taxes. That's not a tax that any vape business can absorb.
You ain't gonna split it. You ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way.
No.
And you know, my 12 milligram, 100 milligrams of, I mean, that's very complex math. That's 23 cents times, it's actually 23 and a half cents times 1,200.
Yep. Oh, Fig, before you miss all this, by the way, just in case you haven't seen it,
the glow-in-the-dark clusterfuck vape bands, inspired by our show, limited edition.
I couldn't resist that. If you haven't seen this, it's glow in the dark, dude.
Inspired by Judy G. Judy G at the was it the which event was that? That was the one that was Amanda speaking at Global Forum on
GFN. Yeah, GFN.
Yes, it was GFN. And Judy said, I'm really interested to find out how America is going to deal with this clusterfuck.
2 for $6. The glow in the dark limited edition. They're not going to be
22
made
and
again.
24 milligram.
Clusterfuck. Oh my god.
Judy G was awesome.
Yes.
I love her.
Yes.
I flirted with her on Twitter and she's like, stop it.
She'll come over here and kick your ass.
She's like, I thought I would be immortalized and, you know, I'd get a plaque on my house and saying that Judy lived here.
All the work that she's already done, and then we just go and clusterfuck it.
She said I've accepted the fact that this is the amount of immortality that I'm going. This is what I'm going to be known legacy. For. This is my legacy, clusterfuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was awesome.
She took it well.
Yeah, we need to I need to get some for her and just send them to her. I'm gonna get Richard's address and have Richard take them to her.
Yeah.
Since it'd be creepy if I just hit her up on Twitter. What's your address?
If I haven't been brazen enough. Wink, wink.
I have changed, Fig. I'm in a different area of the office. I have changed.
Right.
I've moved from there to here.
And sometimes he stands.
I did. I was standing earlier. My desk stands up and down, but
And he drinks less, so he doesn't wobble as much.
that is true. I have significantly reduced my drinking.
Oh my goodness.
We are much more professional.
Yeah, well, maybe. Some days.
I don't know about my hairline getting higher or not, but it is definitely getting grayer.
You ain't no prettier, I know that.
No, there is
No.
that. Yes. I am stuck where I am at, sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly. But all right, Kevin.
Yep.
All right, Kevin. Let's go ahead and wrap shit up. I'm tired. So
Fine.
what do you want to say? How do you want to close out the show tonight? How do you want to say goodbye to these good people?
All I know is that I love all of you except for him. And you have to keep listening to each
Definitely.
other and paying attention. Fig, did you see the shirt? Paying attention to what we're saying to each other and acting on certain things and talking to your doctors or your neurodiverse doctors or whatever you call that, and telling them what you're doing. Just like when you started vaping and you had all those COPD problems, and those problems essentially most of you have said disappeared. You stop taking those meds. It's the same thing. I've explained to my son, because he's himself stigmatizing himself sometimes, that his problems are unseen. You can't see what's wrong. You can't see what's wrong with his mom either. So when you're bleeding or your finger's dangling, you go to the ER and you get fixed. You fixed it. That's fixable. Some things aren't fixable. They're relatable and they're controllable if you're medicated properly. So that's a huge thing. And I love Skip and Richard for doing what they did, because it was extremely brave, in my opinion. And with Dustin, he gets angry with himself sometimes that people don't understand him. And I try to as best I can. And that show specifically, I think, gave me a little more insight for him. So hopefully we do that for you guys. And hopefully, rather than our ending thoughts, sometimes the takeaway from what we give you guys is better than what we had expected or hoped for or planned with, which we don't really plan, but we try to do stuff
right here.
Yeah, pretty much.
We send each other links and like, we're gonna talk about this and this and this and this and this. I don't know what order. We're gonna just talk about this stuff.
Yeah, we ad lib it. We literally don't have a thing. Fig, I'm sure, can vouch for that part. We didn't then either.
We actually tried. We tried to be planners.
We did.
I mean, other than telling, okay, we need to talk about these are our talking points, but we give ourselves room to breathe and to go off in tangents when we need to. You know,
and interrupt.
We knew for a fact that we were going to talk about, principals asking kids to take their pants off, and we knew we were going to talk about the bathroom situations and all of that. We knew that. We talked about the tax plan. We knew that, but we gave ourselves room to breathe, and that allows the show to, because we've been talking about neurodiversity for so long now. I didn't even put neurodiversity up because we've been talking about it for so much. I didn't, but you know what? That's our thing now. That is literally one of the things that we talk about that no one else is either brave enough to talk about, cares enough to talk about it, or obviously, since we live with it, experienced enough to talk about it. But we started this. Well, actually, I blame Charles for this because he's the one that initially did the poll on Twitter
Absolutely.
that brought everybody out of the woodwork and said, well, yes, I've been diagnosed. Yes, I have this, but, and that's really what gave us our stepping off point into this topic. And, obviously my Twitter from February, when I started talking about, instead of attacking, if you find a kid vaping or smoking, instead of shaming them, instead of attacking them, instead of yelling at them, sit down and talk with them and figure out why.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you, some of these kids are not smoking because of smoking is cool. Some of these kids are smoking because they have stress in their life. They've been abused. Yep. They have undiagnosed issues. When I was a kid, they didn't diagnose people with ADHD. They just said they're hyperactive. Beat the hell out of them and they'll stop.
Yeah,
and that's literally how I was treated.
Yep.
But yeah, so obviously, telling a kid that you suspect that has a vape device or vape pen to take their pants down is not. I mean, that is a 15-year-old kid. You tell a 15-year-old kid to drop trow.
It's a felony.
That is fucking, as far as I'm concerned, that's sexual assault.
It is.
And,
borderline molestation. That's my
opinion. And that kid is gonna remember that for the rest of his life. He's going to be traumatized about this. I don't care who you are. I mean,
I'd go the fuck off if I was the parent. I would just go
there would be attorneys, there would be fucking bullets, there would be all sorts of shit involved if my kid came home from school and said the principal made me drop my pants today.
Oh my God. And I would jump to conclusions.
The principal was looking under the bathroom stall door today.
No.
They locked half the bathrooms in the school today because they're afraid people are vaping. So now I have to walk twice as far, and I pissed myself because I couldn't get to the bathroom in time. All because of fear of vaping.
Dehumanizing.
They are demonizing, stigmatizing, and dehumanizing these children. Many of them probably never vaped.
Right.
But they're being victimized because of some sort of weird fear that has been like beat into these people's heads. These are educators. These are supposed to be smart people. These are supposed to be smart people. And their solution is to take your kid into a room and say, take your pants off? Really? Or to sneak into the girls' bathroom and peek under the stall door to see if somebody's in there vaping or if they're pooping. We are living in a weird fucking time right now. I mean, I don't even want to go off about Kenosha. I'm not even going to talk about Kenosha.
Right.
And the kid defending himself. I'm not going to talk about that. We're living in the weirdest fucking period of time. And I've read a lot of history books, and there is no time in our history where we have been divided, so polarized in such an even, like, just completely divided. And people are just fucking stupid. Anyway, love you guys. We're gonna be back the day after Thanksgiving because we have Dr. Roberto Sussman on the show to talk about his vape journey as well as his science. He's a scientist. He's a physicist, Kevin.
Yes.
Physicist who studies vape.
I hope you guys like my psychotic nanny state hashtag.
Please, 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 if you haven't already gone to the hashtag Scope YouTube to look at, well, it's on the Scope. They had a different YouTube channel. Go to the scope thing and look at Dr. Sussman's presentations. He did it in English. He did it in Spanish. If you like Spanish, watch it in Spanish. And then obviously check out the 5 shows that we did during the Scope live stream. Specifically, if you haven't already sat down and watched the 2-hour neurodiversity and nicotine show with Skip and Richard, please watch that. Please watch that. Actually, you can watch that on my channel. You can watch it on my Twitter. You can watch it on our Facebook, because I did download it and edited it to fix the sound problems. I think Scope actually already did it as well. But yeah, either way, watch it. Understand that nicotine helps people. Most of us know that it helps people, but to hear Skip talking about it, to hear Richard talking about it, to hear my little input about how it helps me, those stories are amazing. That show is probably the best 2 hours that we've ever done, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we've done some damn good shows in the last year, but that show was amazing.
And Charles, as a guest himself, said this
We've
is
had
the
Charles
best.
on the guest twice. Well, yeah, Charles is like, this is the best 50 minutes that I've ever seen. And that was only the second half. He didn't even, I don't know that he watched the first half, but that was just the second half. But to hear Skip talk about, well, I reduced my nicotine to 0. And then I started having all these problems. And I was thinking about how I was going to die.
Yeah.
That's fucking powerful. To hear Richard say the same thing. I cut out all my nicotine and like had all these problems. I went to my doctor and he's like, do you know you have all these health issues that you didn't, these mental issues that you had never been diagnosed for? Yeah. It's powerful shit. So anyway, that's my parting thoughts is go check out the content. Go check out what amazing things we have to share. Go check out the Scope stuff. That was an amazing 5 days of 24-hour a day content from advocates from all over the world.
Yeah. If
you didn't watch it live, and a bunch of y'all were in there live, I know, but there's no way that you were there 24 hours a day. And there is some amazing stuff. I mean, advocates from Central and South America, advocates from India, the Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, New Zealand, Australia, America. I don't know, Canada wasn't there. We had Greece and Italy. We had Greece and we had Demi and Phil. He's an Italian American, and Demi's a Greek American. Yeah. But yeah, go check it out. And there's going to be more content. There's going to be more content on that channel. We're going to promote their work. We're going to work together with them. And you never know, we might be able to provide information on how to do their shows better. But yeah, I love you guys. We're going to see you in 7 days. Go enjoy your weekend. Turkey Day is next week as well. So you're going to have Thanksgiving. If you're in the States, you're going to have Thanksgiving before I see you again. Enjoy your bird, enjoy your pumpkin pie, your mashed taters, and your yams. If you're into those things, I don't like yams. And we'll see you. Don't laugh, Kevin. I don't like yams, especially the candied ones.
I'm just thinking I am what I am. I don't know why that brings up that thought, but good.
Okay,
good night.
Love you. Bye.
Hello, let me just say I don't like either of you.
Well, that's understandable.